Commissioner Byrne,
Present.
Commissioner Jactiani,
Here.
Commissioner Feilish,
Here.
and non-voting student commission member Tesser.
Present.
Wonderful. And alternate student members Fong and Schaefer have excused absences. That'll conclude our roll call.
Thanks very much. At this point, we do our Pledge of Allegiance. So typically the youngest person in the room does that. So looking around, that appears to be Student Commissioner Tesser. So take it away.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, Gavin. Now we'll make a motion. We'll move for approval of the agenda.
Good evening, Chair. A really quick comment. In light of our, we have a presenter tonight, and in light of timings, we would like to shift the agenda around slightly, and so we're requesting the Commission approve a modification to the agenda to have the waste management presentation, item number 2, be moved to before announcements and introductions and after the upcoming approval of the meeting summary.
That sounds fine. Does that require a vote of the?
Yes, that does require a motion and a second.
Yeah, please.
I make a motion to redo that schedule.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor of moving around the agenda as Treya asked, please say aye.
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 Thank you very much. Do you want to take it away? Go for it.
So now we'll turn it over to our waste. Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. So we'll actually move on to the approval of the minutes.
When we'll do the minutes and yeah. Does everyone receive the minutes from Melanie? Thank you very much for all the information you shared. Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from last meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second?
And I'll second that.
The two of you are doing fantastic. It's now open for discussion. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Any changes, alterations? Let's go ahead and go into the vote then. All in favor of approving the minutes from our May 7th meeting, please say aye.
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 And aye. Do you want to do the waste management presentation now or introduction?
Absolutely, yes. So
Please.
we'll pass it along to our contact, Denise, from Waste Management, and she will share a presentation for you all.
You're going to click?
This one is.
Oh, this one's, okay.
And I'll drag it.
Hi, everyone. Just going to introduce myself. My name is Denise Kane. I am the municipal representative and the educator for waste management. And a little bit about me is that I've been in the trash industry for a little over 25 years. I moved to California from Philadelphia to pursue college and to learn how to make movies, and somehow my path took me into trash and recycling, and I've been here for 25 years. So I'm very happy to be here and look forward to presenting to you a little bit about organics, a little bit about recycling and what goes where, why the carts look different, and trying to answer and dispel some of the notions that are going around. And if you have any questions, we'll be happy to take them afterwards and we can meet up again. So if you don't mind, we're going to talk a little bit about sustainability and what it is that waste management is doing. So, okay, so SB 1383 was introduced in January of 2022, and the reason is that they needed to come up with a way to mitigate the amount of emissions coming out of the landfills. And SB 1383 is the most significant waste reduction mandate introduced in California since 1989's AB 939, which was for recycling, and that purpose was to divert 50% of household recyclables from the landfill as well. And as everybody knows, the better off we are, the better off we do, the more room and the more productivity we can have from some of those recyclables. SB 1383's objectives are to slow the effects of climate change by diverting organic material from the landfills, which significantly contributes to what it is that we have there. The mandate also states that 75% of all organic matter must be diverted by the landfills by 2025. That's 4 months from today. It's not very long. So we really have to do our part to do that. The other part of SB 1383 that I think is really important is the 20% diversion of what would have been edible food waste being diverted from what would have gone into the landfill and have it be repurposed and reused and sent to facilities that can actually use it. So instead of sending it to the landfill where it gets buried, if it's not expired and it has a life left to it, to repurpose it for Californians that are suffering from food insecurity. And to meet those goals, the state has asked that we separate our trash, our recycling, and our organic material. So what is the largest stream of trash in California? Does anybody know? Well, it is organic waste. And in 2022, Californians threw away more than 27 million tons of organic material. So the notion is that in order to meet the goals of SB 1383, Californians would have to divert 20 million tons a year away from the landfill. So it's a huge endeavor, and we're asking everybody to take the time to participate by being mindful of how it is that they shop. So what is organic waste? Organic waste, by definition, is any material that's biodegradable and comes either from a plant or animal that can be broken down into carbon dioxide, methane, or simple organic molecules. And that can be, as you can see from the slide, eggs, bones, poultry, meat, food-soiled paper, plastic plates, paper plates, anything that you use in your yard trimmings as well. So if you have roses or if you have extra tomatoes or anything that you need to get rid of, you can now bag those up and put them in with your yard waste. And so that is what organic waste is. A little bit of a fun fact that I wanted to share with you is that Starbucks uses 1 million pounds of coffee from farm to cup every day. McDonald's serves 8 million cups of coffee a day. And that's not a small amount. I mean, if you think about that, that's 56 million cups of coffee on an average week. And that's just on an average of a small coffee. So you have the coffee, you have the cup, and all the things that go into that. So 8 million cups of coffee a day. So what can we do to make things better, right? We can start looking at how it is that we buy our food, how it is that we prepare our food, and what is it that we do with it once it's no longer good. So meal prepping has become very popular in recent years, and pricing is at an all-time high. We suggest that you only buy what you can eat what you're going to buy, and if you're going to make meals, meal prep them the way that you would. Meal prep them, don't just put them in the back of the refrigerator at the end of the night, say I'll eat it later. Take the steps to freeze it properly so you can reuse it again. We make the same suggestion with your fruits and your berries. Something I learned from Martha Stewart on her online classes is if you take your grapes and your berries and you seal them in a glass jar, they last more than a week. They last more than 10 days. And I've never had a crispier grape than when it comes out of a glass jar. So it's a very simple way to maximize the shelf life of what you're buying and where it is that you store it. If you see from the diagram, it clearly shows that your everyday foods are supposed to be on your top shelf, your dairy in the middle, and then your meats and your produce on your meats and your poultry on the bottom shelf. And then in your drawers, I didn't know this until recently, that you should store your fruits away from your leafy greens. So that's another way to prolong its life. The same thing with bananas. Who knew that once you break the bananas from its branch that it starts to emit, what do you call it? I'm sorry. Yes, it starts to emit gases, in which case it makes the bananas ripen a lot sooner. So if you seal off the top, whether you use saran wrap or foil, it lengthens the life of that banana. So that's good for me. So recycling food waste at home. It's really simple. We're simply asking you to use some type of bag that you have. It can be plastic, it can be paper, whatever it is, and then we ask you to take it out to your organics container and place it in there with your yard trimmings. So it doesn't have to be layered, there doesn't have to be a rule to it, it's just take your bagged groceries. And there's a reason behind it. Everybody shakes their head with, why do we want you to bag it? And the reason we want you to bag it is because it allows us to collect 2 commodities in the same cart. It also allows us to separate it easier at the processing plant. And that processing allows us to have a weight. And those weights are what helps the city and the state meet their goals for SB 1383's goals of 75% diversion. So you have to have some type of mechanism in order to be able to separate it, and that's why we're asking you to bag it. Now, it's hard for us to see what's in the bag if the bag isn't clear, but we will move along to whatever bag it is that you have. Those bags get broken open and the materials are sorted properly, so that way the process isn't messed up and the processors get what they want, a good food mix or a good mulch mix from the yard trimmings. It also allows, it keeps things clean too. If you bag your food waste, it helps mitigate the smell and it helps mitigate the drippings and whatnot that come into your cart that we hear so many complaints about, right? We don't want you to waste water by cleaning it out. So one of the ways that we're going to help you is by bagging your food waste. Now, I know a lot of you have had questions about, well, why are there so, oh, you know what, I forgot. There is a little video, but I think you get the idea to cut up your produce, cut up your meats and your vegetables, stick them in a bag, and then take them out to your cart. But we have this little video that we can play online. It's not too loud, but it's really anything that you've cut up. Any of your food prep can be placed into a bag and then placed into your yard waste cart. Okay. So what goes where, why, and how? There's a method to the madness, believe it or not. In Calabasas, we're taking steps to comply with SB 1383's new color scheme. The state of California has designed a color scheme of dark gray bodied carts with colored lids to indicate what goes inside. The green lid will be for your organic and your yard waste. The blue lid will be for your recycling, and the black lid will be for your trash. Each of those lids is hot stamped with what goes where, what can be placed inside of it, and what shouldn't be. And we're taking this transition slowly, as fast as we can, before the January 1st, 2036 timeline is given to us by Cal Recycle, but we're doing it now. There are new carts on your street, and we understand that there's a mix of old and a mix of new, but well within the time frame, you will see all new carts at each of the residents here in Calabasas. So if you call for a new cart, you're not going to get the replacement of what you have. You'll get one of the new colors. So if it's trash, again, it'll be a dark gray body with a black lid. If you call for organics or yard waste, it'll be a dark gray body with a green lid. And if you call for new recycling, it'll be a dark gray body with the blue lid. And don't worry about the carts that you have now. Our drivers are trained to know what goes inside of them. They've been doing it for a very long time. It will not be of any impact on your service. And if you need a new cart because there's a broken wheel or you're starting to look a little cracked, let us know. We're happy to replace them. The average cart has a life of 7 to 10 years, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to prevent any unnecessary plastics being exchanged anywhere. We want you to use the carts for the life of them, and we know what goes in them. So as long as you're okay with that, we will be too, and we will exchange them. And exchanges usually happen on days of service unless otherwise scheduled for you, okay? So here we have a recycling video that we've produced for our cities. So it's just a little tidbit. It's about 60 seconds long. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for you.
Hi, it's Joel from WM, and today we're going to talk about recycling and what goes where. Recycling has changed over the years, and while many of the items we used to recycle are still acceptable, we have to make sure they're placed in the cart clean, dry, and loose. Make sure to remove any liquid and wipe out food residue from jars and cans. Keep your recyclables clean. If you have a greasy pizza box or paper towel with food residue, place it in your organics cart where food soiled paper is accepted. Also include your food scraps, like produce, dairy, meat, fish, and poultry, along with breads and coffee grounds in a bag before placing in the cart. Remember, keep it simple and recycle right. Empty your bottles, cans, and jars. Keep paper and cardboard dry, and always make sure your lid is closed. Thank you for joining me, and if you would like any additional information, please contact us at 800-675-1171.
One of the points of the video is to point out how recyclable cardboard is and the Amazon effect. And I'm sure all of you have ordered your fair share of deliverables. But with the Amazon effect, we want to take advantage of all of the cardboard that's coming in. And that's why we ask you to keep it clean, keep it flat, and get it into your containers as often, because it is one of the most valuable items that can be recycled. It can be turned into new paper boxes, it can be turned into paper bags, it can be turned into tissue, it can be turned into paper towels. The same thing goes for your plastic bottles, whether they're soda bottles, water bottles, or Gatorade. As I was sharing earlier, a lot of the products that we manufacture now come from recycled plastic. Our drivers' uniforms are made from recycled plastic. So I know it sounds a little far-fetched, but I brought some bags for you that are also made from recycled plastic. It takes 11 to 16 bottles to manufacture one piece of clothing. So doing your part when you recycle your case of water can be made into a shirt. So if you put those into perspective, there's more utility right now for plastic than ever before, and we're taking advantage of that. And waste management is also expanding our growth where it comes to plastics by making sure that there's end use for the film plastic that so many of our packages come in. So we are working forward, and I think that's a really good step for everybody to take, because film is one of the biggest problems that we have as far as reusable plastics. So again, the reason we ask you for your recycling, the picture in the bottom right tells the story. Plastic bags get stuck into our machinery. It'll cause the entire line to be shut down, and it can't just be pulled out. Guys literally climb inside of our equipment, you can see how big it is, to pull out things like plastic bags, rope, fencing, privacy screens, you name it, it gets in there. Tarps is another one of those things that just does not belong in your recycling. So if you need to use the plastic bag, that's fine. Fill it up and reuse it. Dump it straight into your recycling can. If it gets dirty or messy, we're happy to replace them because we know how liquid can flow. So if it starts to get a little sticky, don't hesitate to call us. We're happy to exchange them. So a little bit about this next slide. We offer a lot of services here in Calabasas that I think a lot of residents and commercial businesses might not be aware of. Each resident is entitled to 3 bulky item pickups a year, 4 items at each pickup, or you can have 20 bags of additional trash picked up, or green waste, or leaves, whatever you're cleaning up. You can also do bundles of twigs and branches as long as they're no longer than 4 feet in length. And you can do that up to 3 times a year. And if you have something special, you can certainly reach out. We can make special arrangements for you. The city also just purchased more food pails for the home use. So if you haven't received one in previous distributions or at some of the events we've been at, simply give us a call and we'll be happy to arrange your personal delivery. As well, we also include Christmas tree recycling every year. It happens just after the holiday through the new year, so we're happy to make those pickups. Now, everybody says, well, what do I do with all that really hard to recycle stuff? What do I do with all the paint and the used oil and the batteries and the light bulbs I have in my garage that have been there for 10 years? Well, Waste Management offers a service called At Your Door. It's safe and it's convenient. All you have to do is simply make a phone call to At Your Door, go online to, I believe it's www.wmatyourdoor.com. And again, I do have more flyers that I can provide for you, but you simply give them a call, you let them know what you have. They put together a kit, it's sent to you, you fill it up, they give you a date, you leave it at your door, and we will come grab it. And it's a great thing if you don't know what to do with some of the items that have been sitting in your garage for a very long time. Pool chemicals old ammonia, old bleach, old paint. Whatever it is, you simply make a call and they'll send you out a kit. It's fast, it's convenient, and it's available year-round. So again, my name is Denise Kane. I am with Waste Management. I am happy to discuss any issues that you have. I'm happy to reach out. We can do this again. We can be more focused on a topic if you'd like. I am surrounded by a team of wonderful staff that can provide more information on how it is that we process things, what things can become, and how it is that we can help Calabasas meet the goals for SB 1383. I think as a community, you should know that compliance here is amazing. It's over 90%. Marina over there and I have worked for nearly 3 years to make sure that all businesses have all of the waste streams that they're supposed to, which include trash, recycling, and organics. So outside of that, the community itself is doing an amazing job. Residents are doing a wonderful job. And if by chance you do get a tag on your cart that says, hey, it was overfilled, or maybe there was a contaminant in it, it's because we're using our best technology to make sure that we correct behaviors early. There's no reason for something to go into a recycling truck if it can be prevented. Oil will it'll ruin an entire load. So we want to make sure that everybody understands what goes where, when, and how. So thank you so much for having me tonight. It was a pleasure, and I look forward to learning more about your organization and how it is that waste management can be a part of it. So thank you again.
Denise, thank you. Denise, thank you very much. I know that I'm guessing some of the commissioners are going to have questions. First of all, I just want to ask if you can maybe send those to us as, electronically. Yes. Rather, I know you said you could print stuff out, but we're just going to end up with more paper, and here we go again. So if it's possible, there was several really valuable slides in there for all of us, I think, and appreciate your being here. I'm going to let some of the commissioners ask questions. We have a very robust, very full agenda, and so I'm going to keep it to 4 minutes, guys, if that's cool. But you want to start, Beth?
Yes, I'm super excited. Thank you for coming. I want to say, though, I did replace a trash can. It was easy and smooth. One clarification, you do not want us to bag the yard waste, correct? Just the food waste?
Just the food waste. That is correct.
And then one of our huge events as an environmental commission is the calendar contest. And the theme this year is how do I recycle in my life? And we just did the bins last year because we were really excited to get that knowledge out there, but it kind of got stalled. Would you be open to speaking at schools before we have them do the calendar contest? Is that something?
If we can make arrangements for that, of course.
Okay, because this was so knowledgeable for us. We were we're still separating. We did the food waste in biodegradable bags, and that wasn't good. So it's constantly changing, I think. But it would be really great to get this information out there.
So here's the little ditty about biodegradable bags. The way that the process happens, there's no time for those biodegradable bags to break down. Everything's processed within 24 hours. So the biodegradable bags are great if you're going to be doing a home mulch program or home programs where something's going to sit and churn because then it can break down. In our process, it's less than 24 hours, so those bags never get a chance to break down.
Absolutely makes sense. All right, so I'll reach out to you about going to schools, front-loading the knowledge before they draw, and then...
I love that analogy, front-loading the knowledge.
Yeah, that'd be
wonderful.
Good. Okay, thank you.
Whitney?
Yeah, okay, so to respect time, I won't go through my whole list. I'll give you a call.
We can have lunch.
But I do think it'd be worthy for you to address, we get Amazon delivered all the time for our home business and for our home, and the amount of boxes is tremendous, and they are not accommodating. Waste management is not easy to deal with. When we put it, my husband has to wait at the curb to ask them to please take our boxes. They want me to call every week to let them know that I have boxes to pick up. And I was like, I have boxes every week. And they're like, you have to call every week. And is that just how it is?
So remember, our trucks are automated. The drivers don't backdrop carts anymore. An arm comes down, grabs your cart, and takes it back up. The whole point of that is to keep our drivers safe and to keep them doing what they need to be doing, which is driving those trucks and keeping everybody around them safe. So the cameras that we have if you tell us beforehand that you have extra containers or
Right.
extra boxes, then the driver's made aware of it, so he'll go back out, reload that same cart, and then dump it again for you. So
Okay.
more advance notice, and you know who I am, so
Yeah.
feel free, I'll put it on your account for every week.
Okay. And you said something about like the film on plastics. Is plastic that has that troublesome film marked on the bottom? Like, how would you know which plastics have that
So when
film?
you buy a case of water, it comes wrapped. It used to have like a
Oh, that
cardboard,
plastic.
it used to have a
Oh,
cardboard base, and then they got rid of that, and so now when you pull it, the whole thing falls apart. It's that type of film.
Got it.
And Waste Management is working very hard to find new outlets where that can be recycled and reused and turned into something new.
I see. Okay, and how about this, everybody? Waste management is food management. It's a tagline. Because it's hand in hand,
Look at that.
right, everybody?
You gonna charge him
right.
for this?
Yeah.
You're doing a little marketing.
It's on record, everybody. Thanks,
You need to
Denise.
credit Whitney.
Yes, Whitney.
A lot of witnesses.
Yes.
You have more questions, or
I
you
do,
good?
but just to honor
Will
time
you
on
mount?
this.
All right, cool. Larissa, please.
I just want to say thank you very much. It was a lot of good information, and I could share this with a lot of people, this thing we watched. Really good.
Well, I'm happy to provide it, and I can provide some cliff notes for you as well with little addeds, and you can put them on to the slides yourself, or, you know, you can script it out. I'd be happy to provide that for you.
Thanks.
Randy.
Thank you, Denise. I do have a question for you. We have, at my HOA, we have an environmental committee that we formed, and we have about 9 people, and we're pretty active. And I think that this slide that you have on At Your Door would be really, really beneficial to our community. My question is that done per household, or can we have like a group community event?
Well, we can make arrangements to have a community bulk pickup, but not of household hazardous waste. That has to be done through At Your Door. But if you wanted to do a community cleanup where people were cleaning out their yards of, you know, branches and whatnot, they have old bikes, or they're getting rid of a mattress, an old sofa, we can certainly do a bulk pickup like that. But when we're talking about hazardous waste, it has to be done through At Your Door, so that way it's contained properly, picked up, and taken away for you. But we're
That's-
happy. Sure.
That's great. Thank you
Which
so
HOA? Which HOA?
Westridge.
Oh, lovely.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Randy. Gavin, any questions or thoughts?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for coming here. I learned a lot, and I'll definitely use like some of your tips and tricks for like the rest of my life. And I had some questions. So in the video, I think it mentioned that you can dispose greasy items in the compost. So I just did I miss hear that, or?
No, so a pizza box, now they put these little pies in the middle of a pizza box to try and prevent the grease from getting on the lid or the cheese from sticking from the lid. So what we're saying is if your pizza box is a little greasy, go ahead and put it in your organics container, because that can be ground up with compost. So it's not going to be measured with your food, but it is going to be measured with your compost. So go ahead. Food soiled paper. Now, not if you've cleaned something. So you don't want to clean a surface with Windex and then throw that in. But if you had to mop up like a little butter spill, then you would want to take that napkin and put that into your food, into the yard waste container, or into the bag that you have your food scraps.
Plus, if it's an old pizza box, it'll smell good.
Right? A little bit of garlic never goes too far.
More questions, Gavin, or are you good?
And also, would you consider resin toxic waste? And if so, how should that be disposed? Because I know it gets very sticky, and I'm just curious.
Where are we finding resin? What type of resin?
I guess like epoxy or any type of resin.
So that, again, would
Dog
fall
cat.
under hazardous waste, and hopefully it's being contained. If the containers are empty, you know, then, and it's made from aluminum, then it can be recycled. But if it still has product in it, we should contain it and make sure that it is handled properly. Epoxy should be handled like paint or any other hazardous material.
Thanks very much. Okay, this is going to be a lightning round because I've got a few questions.
Okay.
One, dog poop. Dog.
Trash. I know
Trash.
it sounds organic, but it still goes in your
Straight
trash.
trash. Okay, cool. And how do the drivers know? When you say the drivers know, they're trained.
It's amazing.
We
Because
have
I've
some
sold a house
drivers.
where one side of the house, one side of the street is Woodland Hills, one side of the street is Calabasas, and like, come on.
So one of the interesting things about waste management and some of the smaller trash companies that used to be in the areas like Consolidated, we are those companies now. We acquired those, and when we acquired them, we acquired the services. So if you have a gray can for your trash and a blue can for your green waste and your purple can for your organics, we're going to know. And it's the drivers, believe it or not, we've had drivers with us for longer than 30 years. These neighborhoods are like it's like a back map. You don't even have to tell them, they know exactly where they are.
Yeah.
So when somebody has a little bit extra, sometimes if the driver's familiar with it, they do take that extra step. But all you have to do is let us know. And if you're having trouble with your own cart, we're happy to exchange it. There's no problem exchanging the carts out now. They're just a very costly thing. And with the longevity that each of our carts has, being made from high-density polyethylene, that's a fancy word for plastic, they're really structured to have a long shelf life, so to speak.
Great. Well, this is very informative. Please do share the slides with the staff, and thank you so much for coming.
It was my pleasure. Thank you all for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
we're
so
going to move
much
on
for
with the agenda real quick. And
So these slides have been posted online. They are available on the agenda document itself, but we can absolutely send them to each of you commissioners as well.
that'd be great, especially if the students aren't here, a couple of students aren't here, and it'd be great for all of us. I think actually the next piece of agenda is probably public comment, because we kind of skipped over that.
Absolutely.
I think it's announcements. Yes, correct. It's announcements and
announcements,
introductions, and then we'll go into oral communication.
Okay.
So along with Denise's presentation, we created a staff or an internal presentation for our calendar recycling contest to kind of segue from the recyclables that she discussed. So would you like me to go through this presentation that was kind of an addition with hers?
And real quick, Melanie, I have one announcement from staff. So, Chair, if that's okay, I just need a couple minutes. Sure. First off, I wanted to thank Treya Bezdekny for helping out. She's been here for a long time. She took over for Alex Farsadi, and she also sits on the Transportation and Traffic Commission, so she was pulling double duty for about a year. So thank you to Treya. And you have all met Melanice, our new management analyst, who's going to be taking over, and she'll be your liaison for this commission. So welcome to Melanice. She's off to a really great, fast start. And those are my announcements. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Point of just clarification. I thought we did public and then we did commissioner comments. Is it?
So we've kind of, or Melanie has a little bit altered how we do things. So it used to be that commissioner comment was under agenda items. We have taken it out of agenda items and put it as part of the announcements and introductions. So it's a little bit of restructuring. You're not incorrect, Chair. That is how we used to do it, but this is a way that we're trying to do it for this meeting.
This was the direction shared by our city clerk. So they're working on...
Let's talk about this more. I kind of liked it the way it was, but for this meeting, let's just move on. But
Absolutely.
Especially if the city clerk is directing that.
I'll give one update. We have a new city clerk, and we are going to be standardizing all commission meetings. They'll be more in alignment with city council meetings. So there may be some changes kind of out of our purview. We're just going to go with what the city clerk recommends as far as order.
They had recommended having our student commissioner communications, our commissioner communications, and staff communications under announcements and introductions.
Okay. All right, so let's move into that. So do you want to start, Gavin, with student
I can come with
student commission communications, please?
Hi, I'm Gavin, and I'm going to be presenting on behalf of Ray and Skylar today, so I have a lot of stuff to share. So first of all, for the past summer, for the past 6 weeks, I've been working at the Las Virgenes Municipal Water District. And as part of that, I've worked with over 650 customers to help them follow the recycled water use regulations. And right here is my desk. And then that was from a tour of the reclamation plant. And it's just been really interesting to work alongside the district staff members, and I've learned a lot about water use. And I've also sat in on multiple resource conservation meetings, so I'm definitely learning a lot. And then, so through my job at LVMWD, I have met with the resource conservation manager, and together we have developed a program called Flora for the Future, which basically will involve seed banks around Calabasas, and that will make seeds more readily available to the public, as well as act as an introduction to more native seeds and just promoting biodiversity. So we're still in the process of planning this, but we're going to be starting our pilot program coming up, so I'll keep everyone updated on that. And the next thing is, so I was a participant in the drawing contest for elementary school, and I won twice. Wow. And I just think that there should be more opportunities for high school students to get involved. So I'm proposing a high school exclusive environmental art contest.
Yes.
And I've met with the art teacher at Calabasas High School, and she's very interested in this idea. And yeah, so I was just wondering, to start off, would it be possible to display my artwork in City Hall to kind of act as like a, I guess, call to action to encourage more high school students to join the contest?
Finish your presentation, we'll talk.
Okay.
We'll respond. We'll respond.
Yeah, and so my artwork, I try to incorporate recycled materials to show synthesis between the ideas and materials, and I think it's a really unique way of promoting environmental sustainability. And also, I've been doing research at the Center for Aging and Longevity Studies at UCSB, and I'm currently researching how increased temperatures to simulate climate change and global warming affect the behavior of tardigrades, which are microscopic organisms that can tolerate extreme temperatures and just any extreme conditions. So they can survive space, they can survive low and high gravity. So it's really interesting. And I was just there yesterday. And so tardigrades go into a ton state when they're distressed. And so as a result of temperatures, we found that the tardigrades kind of went into a half-ton state, so not full ton, and that might be like a unique scientific contribution that no one has noticed before. And also, I was selected for the California Youth Climate Policy Leadership Program, which is focused around cultivating the next climate leaders. And as part of that program, I'll be launching a campaign to advocate and pass environmental policies within LVUSD. And then also, I've been collaborating with Melina Watts, the North Santa Monica Bay Watershed Coordinator. And we've been trying to pursue a grant at Calabasas High School for the past few months, but now we've pivoted to possibly a grant in collaboration with LVMWD, primarily for irrigation, as well as a cistern to combat wildfires, because as climate change increases, we're going to have more extreme weather events, so it's really important that we build cisterns. And then the final thing I have, so for the past around 4 months, I've been working with CalRecycle to develop the California Environmental Youth Advisory Council to increase youth engagement and environmental reform, because there's not many opportunities for the youth to get involved and will be most affected in the future. So I think it's really important that we increase youth engagement now before it's too late. And next, I'll be moving on to Skylar Fong's commissioner update, and I have a script from him, so I'll just be reading it. Okay, so this is from Skylar. I hope you are all having a relaxing summer thus far and cheering on athletes at the Olympics representing USA. I am unable to physically be present at this meeting because every summer the Calabasas High School cross-country team conducts intensive training at a high altitude in Mammoth. The goal is to get every student athlete in tip-top shape for the upcoming race season starting at the end of August. That said, I am happy to report Gavin, Ray, Logan, Commissioner Cohan, and I have been busy meeting and exploring several exciting opportunities in the past months. Logan Starr and I had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Douglas Reinheimer, Senior Vice President of Operations and Services at Paramount Motion Picture Studio at the beginning of the summer. He spoke and participated in the recent climate change conference hosted by the White House. He showed us steps and methods that he implemented to help create more sustainable environment in an industrial campus. Some of the steps included using algorithm-based programmable thermostats to control temperature in buildings. The thermostats would help shut off certain HVAC systems if no one was in the room or building at a certain time. In addition, he also budgeted for more energy-efficient appliances and LED lighting fixtures to be used in all Paramount commercial buildings. As a result of becoming more environmentally friendly, Southern California Edison and thermostat companies like Ecobee provided rebates to Paramount Pictures for LED lights, energy-efficient appliances, and thermostats. Calabasas commercial businesses and homeowners alike could largely benefit from switching to more efficient LED lighting and installing programmable thermostats and energy-efficient appliances. Companies such as Ecobee, Clear Results, and even Southern California Edison offer rebates for commercial businesses for all the items listed above. I was excited to hear that Calabasas City Hall has the most up-to-date systems installed. However, we have the opportunity to make sure that all Calabasas commercial buildings can take advantage of becoming a green business at a lower cost. And next, I'll be moving on to Ray Schaefer's update. Hi, commissioners. I hope you guys have a great and amazing summer. I am sorry I could not join everyone today. To start off the summer, in early June, the city hosted the Las Virgenes Creek Cleanup. Seeing this, I took the opportunity to gather the CHS Roots and Shoots Club for a meeting. I shared a presentation about the creek and the information regarding the cleanup, and I offered 2 hours of community service for those who would attend. I was able to gauge a group of 8 students from the Roots and Shoots Club. The cleanup itself was very successful. In the end, we filled up 20 to 30 garbage bags with trash, debris, old fishing traps, and even a shopping cart. We got a feature in the Acorn newspaper. Overall, it was a major success. Again, sorry for not being present today, and I will have a lot to share when I attend the next meeting. And the final section today is something David, Ray, Skylar, and I have been working on, and we are excited to launch our Bags to Benches recycling program at Calabasas High School in the city of Calabasas for the 2024 to 2025 school year. The projected start date is September 16th, with a soft launch in late August to gather volunteers, set up bins, and prepare for the launch. With Principal Mr. Watkey's approval and support from the AP Environmental Science teacher and Roots and Shoots Club advisor, Ms. Sneed, we plan to house the main bin in her classroom and integrate the program into school activities. At major events like Club Rush, we will promote the program through the Roots and Shoots Club, offering community service hours and extra credit for Ms. Sneed's students. Our goal is to recycle 1,000 pounds of plastic for this year that will be eventually turned into a bench. Additionally, we've collaborated with Mr. Humphrey Tyler to implement the Bags to Benches as a community-based program through Nextrex, which recycles plastics into benches and other materials. We plan to place collection bins at locations such as Fazio Dry Cleaners, the LV USD District Office, the Las Virgenes Municipal Water District, local parks, and elementary schools. Promotion will include elementary school assemblies, social media, Acorn newspaper, and community incentives. Our first bench will be placed at CHS for the class of 2026. We would love to promote these initiatives at upcoming commission events like the Pumpkin Festival, Annual Forum, Arbor Day, and Earth Day. It's been a rewarding experience working with the commission team and staff, and I look forward to continuing our efforts to improve the environmental sustainability in Calabasas. See you next meeting. Well, thank you.
Thanks very much, Gavin. Any questions or comments from any of the other commissioners? Beth will
Okay. You're inspiring. Thank you for all you do. It's nice to be around your energy and just get excited for everything you're doing. Your art idea is most exciting to me. I love that. And we were talking earlier today, Whitney and I, about the forum and how sometimes it might not feel like we get that much out of it. But Mr. Humphrey Tyler approached me at the forum, and then I connected him with David, and that's how we got to know him. So that is a nice start. So keep it up. Thank you. Thank you.
Just tremendous. That's it. Tremendous.
Go ahead. You want to say anything?
I feel the same.
That was unbelievable. I'm just amazed, and thank you so much for all your contributions. Thank you.
Gavin, I just want to say that was pretty good. I hope the three of you can do better at the next meeting. I also think, now that I've seen where you work, I happen to know your mother. I didn't see any family pictures. I'd like a family picture. Julie, right? All right. We're going to move on with the agenda. Other commissioners. Thanks, Gavin. Other commissioners. Anybody want Beth? Updates? Commissioner
As far as updates?
comments?
Yes. So Whitney and I met, and we want to figure out where we're going with this native plant subcommittee. But we're very excited to create a criteria so that we can recognize local residents who do meet the criteria of having a native garden that we can then highlight at our meetings or city hall meetings. And we know Alicia Weintraub's on board with that. We just need to make that criteria. So that's kind of like our top thing, and we're both reaching out to different people, but Whitney has the most leads there. So I'll let her finish.
I know that we got, I can't remember your name.
Denise.
From the Water District. You. Marina?
Denise?
No. Aren't you from the Water District? Where are you from?
Waste Management.
Waste Management. Somebody from the Water District gave our family like a big gift basket because we won Native Garden of the Year. That was I don't know who nominated us. I don't know how it happened, but it was a really nice thing to receive. So even if like the residents didn't win anything, but if they, based on like the criteria, we were saying like maybe a native garden has milkweed, some mallows. We're not even super informed on what the name of those plants were, but like a little thing that would go in their garden that says, I was, City of Calabasas Native Garden, official, whatever, is really what we were thinking. That if we had like a checkoff list of what the plants were, and then the resident can say, I fit that criteria, and then like Treya or somebody would go and present a garden stake, right? That's what we were thinking.
Well, wait, can I just, further on number 4 on the agenda, we're going to be talking about priorities for the commission. So this should just be kind of your comments, like,
That's it.
but I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm all in. I'm all
Yeah,
in.
that's
I'm
all we
going to
have to
vote
say.
with you. I'm going to skip ahead. But how was your summer? Anything else that you want to talk about?
No.
All right. Other commissioners, any comments? Randy?
I do have a comment. It was a pleasure being with some of the staff and commissioners, and I met Gavin at the creek cleanup on June 1st. I thought it was a wonderful opportunity, and I think next year we should make it even a bigger one, because I had never been down to the creek, and it was amazing down there. And I can't even believe all the trash that we hauled away. I mean, just all those planks and shopping carts and what you guys all did. So that was my comment.
I think there's another date on the calendar, but staff can keep us posted on that. Any other commissioner comments? I'll just jump in with a couple of quick things. Just to kind of step off of what Gavin was saying, we've had a lot of clearly the students are really excited, and there's a lot going on. And a lot of the efforts, I think, for me personally, I'm trying to find opportunities to partner with, whether it's with the schools, with the community members. And so along those lines, we had a meeting with the leadership and staff of Environmental Commission and Park and Rec Commission, and we're looking at opportunities to partner with some of the environmental aspects of things going on with parks. And one of the things I mentioned, Howard, throw a shout out to you. You mentioned years ago about trails, and Park and Rec, and I mentioned you specifically and your wonderful ideas. So I think that there's going to be more collaboration in the future. There was also talk about collaborating with Transportation Commission because there's issues with electric vehicles and charging stations and that type of thing. There's also been there's opportunities for collaboration with the Water District. We have had a subcommittee on water conservation, and we should be partnering with our community leadership. I had a conversation with Larissa, who was talking about trees, and we've collaborated with tree people many times in the past. So I think that it's really exciting. The schools are absolutely on board. I had a conversation just a couple days ago with the superintendent. He's looking forward to them getting one of the recycling bins, and so I think this is all really exciting. I also wanted to just mention, well, I guess that's it. I'll wait till later on in the agenda. But thank you all for being here, and thank you. I'm excited also about the new staff, the new students, and the new commissioners. So welcome. I specifically want to welcome Randy to be as part of our team.
Thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on in the agenda to...
Chair, if I may do a quick announcement, introduction from staff.
Yeah, please.
So I wanted to, on my last big meeting with you guys, I wanted to do a welcome to Randy and to Gavin for your first meetings. Congratulations. We're happy to have you here. And other than that, I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for welcoming me. It was a turbulent start, definitely. There's a lot going on, but thank you for making me feel welcome and letting me dip my toe into the environmental world for a little bit. Thank you so much.
Trey, just to make a quick comment about that there was no Curtis, there was no Melanice, there was no staff. There was absolutely no staff, and we didn't meet. We did not have our May meeting, which is why we didn't have our last meeting, our 2 meetings ago. So when we were supposed to be having students and when we were supposed to be doing a lot of things, so it was lean times, and this is post-COVID, and Treya came to Beth's house to have to talk about and even brought some Danish. So you're a rock star. You scored big points with me. So thank you, Treya, for everything you've done, and look forward to working with you in the future as well. All right, now we'll move on. Yeah. Okay. Now do we go to staff communications?
That was staff communications,
Curtis or Melanie, anything else to add?
Anything else? And then next we will have oral communication, public comment.
All right, so now we have oral communication comments. And I have my dear friend Christine is in the house. So that's the one card I've got. Christine, why don't you come on up? And you got a couple of minutes to...
How long? Because I have a lot to say.
Well, we're...
Okay.
So you'll have 3
Good
minutes.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to
when the light goes yellow, wrap it up. Get ready to wrap it up.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to say I hope everybody's staying cool at this moment because it's been bloody hot. But also to whoever I have not met before, Curtis, Randy, welcome on board. It's nice seeing you here, and I am extremely excited about you, Gavin. I know some of your friends that you're working with, and they are amazing, and you guys are our future. So I am so happy you're here. The best of everything to you. So thank you for being here. I'm Christine Renaud. I've been in Calabasas 40 years. I've raised my 2 kids. Now I'm a grandmother with 5 kids. And I started Poison Free Calabasas along with my very dear friend, neighbor, Randy Feilish. But I always would like to talk about it. First and foremost, it's really something whenever I walk around the city. For instance, right behind you, you have a beautiful image of a hawk. Hopefully it's a red-tailed hawk. On the outside, you have a beautiful statue of a red-tailed hawk. You go to the Calabasas High School, they're the coyotes. You go into Trader Joe's, they depict owls everywhere. However, the very sad part is they're dying They're dying in such a horrible, terrible way due to our human negligence and ignorance. So I'm here to talk about that a little bit. And I know that with COVID, I know Alex has left. I know you've been very short on staff. Beth, Whitney, David, we've talked about implementing different programs. Sadly, nothing has happened in years now. And it's really something because I want my grandkids and I want your grandkids and your grandkids to be able to enjoy this in the future. I want them to go down to the Malibu State Creek Park and just look at the beauty that we have. I want them to... Cancer is just so high right now among people, young people. It's crazy, but I strongly believe what we put into our environment, it stays. It goes into our water. It goes into our soil. It goes into our air. I bring awareness and education on rodenticide, and I don't like to mention just rodenticide. I'd like to say rat poison. It doesn't matter if it's rodenticide or what poison. Poison is poison. And if it comes in contact with us, our families, our children, our pets, our wildlife, it has very severe consequences. So I'd like to continue coming, and I'd like to work with my city, which I love very much. I love this city, and I love everything it has to offer. So if I have a moment, I'd like to read to you my findings.
Do me a favor, just wrap it up real quick, because
we have an
agenda.
ordinance on lid lock. If you go into the city, Calabasas Commons, go and take a walk into the back, let's say on a Friday night. None of them comply. None of them comply. It's filthy, it's dirty, they're all open, they shoot down trash.
But do me a favor, just kind of give us one sentence wrap up here. I'll be happy to meet you for a coffee, but we have an agenda, we have a meeting.
Anyway, I really would like to request that the city, that the commission please send out those letters annually. We need to update them, and we need to have them go out to our local businesses and HOAs. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for being here. Next on the agenda is the meeting schedule. So there's a number of changes. I think I've talked to some of you about the fact that there's been addition of staff, and we're trying to kind of comply with the Brown Act and a lot of other things, and you were saying new clerk, and so we're getting organized and trying to be a little bit more organized and productive, and so we're going to launch right into the first order of business, which is voting on the resolution about our 2024-25 meeting schedule, and with regard to the dates, Melanie, do you want to go ahead and introduce this?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chair.
Sure.
So the current meeting schedule was not really quarterly per se. The meetings were not happening consistently. So staff is proposing to reorganize our meetings to occur on the first Tuesday of February, May, August, and November. And if any special meetings are needed, then we can make a motion to host that special meeting and then host a roll call to make sure that all commissioners are on board for that special meeting. So the resolution and the staff report were shared with each of you previously and have been posted online. So if you have any questions or any revisions that you'd like to implement or change the dates in any capacity, please let us know and we can revise that. But if not, we'd really like to have a motion to update the meeting frequency to reflect these dates of February, May, August, and November annually.
Thanks very much. And just so you know, I have met with staff and went over a lot of these, so I will entertain a motion and a second, and then we can discuss. Just do me a favor, start with a motion.
We can discuss prior to doing a motion, Chair.
Is that right? We don't need a...
Sure. When it's an agenda item, we can just open discussion. We only need the motion and then the second when you're about to take an action.
Okay. Great, even better.
It's open
Randy,
for discussion.
Go ahead, Randy.
My concern was, doesn't the 1st November date interfere Tuesday night with Election Day?
Yes, this was an issue that we noticed as well. So we were going to move this November meeting to November 12th in order to comply with the election date, to allow you all to take care of any business that you need to on that November 5th date.
You know what, I would propose then that we do that we institutionalize that, because it's going to be election date the 1st November of every year. We're going to have that same, Randy's point is a very good one. So why don't we just say the second Tuesday? Why don't we just amend the resolution? Does that work, or
Yeah, I think we could accommodate that. We can make that work so that we just need to add that language into the resolution, which would then make its way into the meeting minutes for this meeting. So it would be the first Tuesday of 3 of those months, but the second Tuesday in November.
Yeah. As long as it's clear on the city calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Randy, thank you for bringing that up. That's an excellent point. Other comments about the calendar?
I think it seems like it comes up that we don't have a lot of time to discuss business, the 5 of us, really here in this situation, because we have presenters, we have awards we give, we do so much. Have we talked about a 5th meeting, or is that something we have to do as needed, so to speak?
We'd like to have that on an as-needed basis. You could make a motion to have a December meeting or an additional special meeting. We do have an item at the end of this agenda. Commissioners had brought to our attention that they'd like a special meeting in December, so we can have that discussion. I believe it's item 6, so we'll be reviewing that. But if any other special meetings are requested by commission, we'll bring that to the attention of all the commissioners, have a discussion, and then have our first, second, and a motion.
Okay, thank you.
I agree with you, by the way, about that. So, but this is why it's on here for this year. But going forward, it is something that we probably should be thinking about. Is 4 meetings sufficient? Whoever's chairing it is going to want to think about that. As I say, I had a conversation with staff, and that's why the December meeting is on the agenda later. Any other discussion? All right, now I'm going to entertain a motion. Yeah, so now I'll entertain a motion with a slight amendment that we will have meetings on the first Tuesday of February, May, August, and the second Tuesday of November, in addition to any other meetings that the commission as a whole.
Absolutely, Chair, you stated it perfectly.
And I would just add, it is pending the availability of the room on that November date. We've checked it for the first Tuesday, so it should be clear. If this isn't clear, we'll follow up. So I just want to make that clarification.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion.
Second?
I'll second that.
Come on, I'm counting on the two of you.
Yeah, I'll second that.
All right. All in favor of this resolution of our calendar for 2024-25? Please. Actually, the wording of it should change, because it says 24, but it should be 24 and 25, right? Vote on resolution 24, or is it just the name of it, 2024?
It's just the name of the resolution, Chair.
Okay, I apologize. Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great. That passes. Let's move on. Presentation on waste management. We had that. Number 3.
Really quick, Chair, apologies to interrupt. We do still have the second presentation of that agenda item where Melanice is going to discuss a little bit further into the calendars.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So our 2024 recycling drawing contest was voted on previously by the commission. The theme is, how do I recycle in my life? So I just wanted to give a little bit of background on what is recycling. So recycling is the process of converting waste materials into new materials and objects. So when you recycle, you're reintroducing an item into the circulation rather than disposing of it in a landfill. And the city carries out various recycling processes, such as our battery recycling program, used oil and water-based paint collection events, and e-waste collection that divert these items from the landfill. Usually when items are sent to landfill, these salvageable materials cannot be recovered, so they're lost. So, I apologize. So according to the EPA, there was a study that determined that over 193 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent were saved through municipal solid waste or composting and recycling. So what exactly is 193 million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent? We created this graphic to share some information with you. So 193 million metric tons of CO2 is equivalent to the greenhouse gas equivalent of approximately 500 billion miles driven. And from driving across the US is about 2,500 miles. So that's the equivalent from driving from LA to Florida 200 million times. That same equivalent in carbon dioxide equivalent is 38 million homes electricity for 1 year. We also have the CO2 equivalent saved of 21 billion gallons of gasoline consumed, and each car usually takes about 10.5 to 18.5 gallons per tank, just to put that into perspective. And then the CO2 equivalent of 193 metric tons of carbon dioxide is also the same as charging 12 trillion smartphones. And then lastly, another comparison, just to put it into perspective for you all, it's the equivalent of the same amount of carbon that's sequestered from 225 million acres of forest in 1 year. And 1 acre is approximately the size of a football field. So you can just put all of that into use or discover how these changes and benefiting our recycling program can affect carbon dioxide emissions and the warming of the planet. So this is our proposed timeline for the calendar contest. August 6th, we're announcing the calendar theme and the contest, which is today. August 21st is the first day of school. On October 18th, we have our drawing submissions due. On October 28th through the 30th, we're hoping to do our subcommittee review. And then on November 12th, which is our proposed next meeting, we're hoping to have the commission review the submissions and vote on the winners or the selected drawings. November 22nd, we're hoping to start the production of the calendars and hoping to announce the winners at the February 4th meeting, unless we do have a special meeting in December, which will be discussed later. So here's a proposed timeline, the same information that I just shared with you all, but in a linear format. And then the prizes and awards. So 14 total drawings will be selected to be in our calendar. Each drawing will be in the 2025 calendar, and students receive various gifts like gift cards or recognition at our environmental commission meetings and their name under the 2025 calendar drawing. And here are just some examples of drawings that we've had at previous years. So I'm really excited to see what the students contribute. So that is my whole presentation. I just wanted to give a surface level introduction. It's really meant to complement the wonderful presentation from Waste Management and introduce our calendar topic.
Great.
And I'll open the floor if you have any questions or any feedback.
Thanks, Melanie. The only comment I wanted to make is I just wanted to make sure I'm clear. Currently, the drawing contest subcommittee, which I know we've disbanded, so we're going to have... No, that one we formed. It has Beth and Whitney, correct? Okay. Cool. So the only comment I was going to make is perhaps perhaps Gavin could meet with that subcommittee, could work with that subcommittee and try to work together and report back to us.
Absolutely.
About maybe doing some things with the high school, and there was talk also about putting things at the tennis and swim center in the hallway. And one of the things that I spoke to Curtis and Melanice about was that in the past, so I was on the Environmental Commission before COVID, let's say it that way. And what happened back then was, for people who don't know, this is such a successful program with the school district that we get about 1,400 pictures drawn. And you got to think about it, these kids are embracing recycling when they're drawing these. And then it gets winnowed down by the subcommittee or by people who volunteer, and then we vote, including the students. And so by the time we vote, it's down to maybe 120 or some number. When it got down to that number, the 120, what happened historically was they were put up on these walls. And it was so cool walking into this chamber, and it wasn't just the Environmental Commission. When all the other Planning Commission and City Council and Park and Rec, when they would have their meetings, all the meetings are televised, and people can see these students drawing. So the students get even more recognition. And so my recommendation, my suggestion to the subcommittee would be, and the
I
city.
just want to clarify. I'm pretty sure the subcommittee is Larissa and myself.
I think it is.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Thanks for that. Anyway, that's it. I just want to throw that out there because once we get past this and we vote.
It was beautiful. I think it stopped because people on the committee had issues with voting in front of the children and presenting it that way. So have we figured out, because the days it was up was when we voted.
I mean, the voting could still happen the way it's happened
Yeah.
this last year. But I'm saying,
I felt like they didn't put it up because we said we're not voting the same way anymore.
I encourage the subcommittee to explore that.
Okay.
Whatever, that's your thing. I love that we gave the kids, that 120 kids got some promotion, not just the 14 winners.
I completely agree.
Cool. So with that said, any other comments?
Would it be possible to encourage the kids to incorporate recycled materials into the artwork?
Some have.
I don't think we can because the way you process it. I remember there's 3-dimensional ones and we couldn't take them.
Some have. There was one with soda pop. Soda pop.
That could be very difficult. I like the idea, but I would have
I love it, and there's a place for that. But I remember being told that we couldn't let that one go on. Who told us? I don't know.
That might have been during Alex's time. I'm not as familiar with that. So we can do some mixed media. It does become a problem when it's 3-dimensional, but we have had a past submission that was not disqualified that had done that originally and then kind of in a way took a picture of it so that what had been 3-dimensional, the soda pop, was now 2-dimensional. That being said, this is all facilitated by the school district, so that is at their discretion if they're able to provide those extra mixed medias or if the students at home are able to do it on their own. I agree with the sentiment, but that...
You know what I'm again going to do? I'm going to push this to the subcommittee. We have a subcommittee, and you know what? We come back, give us a report, tell us what you've decided. But Gavin, in terms of your question, join the subcommittee and discuss it with them. Would be my suggestion. Any other discussion about the topic for? So you were going to? Did you say the topic for this year?
How do I recycle in my life?
How I recycle in my life. Mm-hmm. Cool. And in the past, there's been a flyer about. Is that coming, or is that already produced?
We will share that with the schools when the time does come.
And the council. Mm-hmm. Cool. I mean the commission. That's great. Okay, thanks very much. The next, so is that it for your?
Yes, that was it. All that's remaining is public comment. I'm not sure if anybody has any public comment for this item, but there's no one in the audience. So I'd just like to open the floor and state it.
Thanks. The one thing I wanted to, when we were talking about this earlier, I just want to point out to everybody, I asked, because in the past, there have been years where we've come up with topics that didn't totally have to do with recycling, and then we were kind of reined in that, no, you can't do that, it has to be about recycling. So I asked staff, in one of our meetings over the summer, who set this rule? Who is sponsoring this? And I didn't know, all those years I've been involved, I didn't know it's Waste Management. So thank you, Waste Management, I know it's Waste Management. So thank you for it's both the financial and the I mean, like I said, you got 1,400 kids joining in and believing in recycling. So hats off to you. Okay, next, can I move on with you? Yeah, cool. All right.
Let me just say one thing. It also inspires some kids to choose that as their career path. Like Sydney said that was how she started because she won that contest.
And Gavin
maybe
Tesser
that was
sitting
one of
on
your
our
first
commission,
things
right?
as well. So the impact is significant. Thank you.
Thanks, Beth. All right, informational updates on city activities and projects.
Thank you, Chair. So today I'm here sharing a presentation or an update on our Green Business Certification program that we have in place. So what is the Green Business Certification? This program was introduced in 2017, and it's meant as a program to recognize businesses that are already practicing environmental stewardship in their day-to-day business. And it recognizes water conservation, solid waste reduction, sustainable purchasing, pollution prevention, and energy conservation. So certified businesses are recognized as environmental leaders in the city of Calabasas, and these selected businesses receive a window decal, a graphic, and a certificate. And the term is 3 years. So currently recognized businesses, we have 4 within the city. We have Fazio Cleaners, Goldstein & Associates, Mur Cleaners, and Salon Nouveau. Salon Nouveau came several months ago, almost a year ago, to present on their award. So some of the program details, it's open to several businesses, auto repair, dentist, garment cleaning, and if these businesses aren't on the prearranged list that we have, staff can always make a special checklist for that business type. So these applications are on a rolling basis, so the certification is valid for 3 years, and businesses automatically certify when they complete 60% of the checklist items on their specific list. So the recertification process is an abbreviated version of the original certification, and we can discuss further if you'd like to as well. So once again, reiterating the application process. So these application process is a lengthy checklist, but as long as they achieve 60% of those items on the list, then they are certified as a green business. So some past collaboration that has occurred. So city staff worked with the Chamber of Commerce to create a list of businesses so that they could send out email blasts and physical letters to those establishments. And Waste Management previously sent out a commercial newsletter that had a stipend or a little piece on the Green Business Certification as well. So in terms of recognition, once again, so these businesses will receive a certificate, a window decal, a graphic logo, city council recognition, and then business promotion. So they were promoted on the city website and the city e-newsletter, and then they also had an optional presentation at our environmental commission meeting, which is what Salon Nouveau took advantage of at our previous meeting, if any of you remember. So these are some of the green business logo that we've had in the past. So 2018 to 2020 was the one on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side is the newest graphic that we have in place that goes through 2027. And just some background, this item was introduced by City Council, and a subcommittee was assigned through the Environmental Commission in 2017, and it had gone through several revisions, and staff ended up taking over the project and revamping it. But the program has been active since 2018, and it still continues to go strong. We're just hoping to revisit and have some next steps. So I have some suggested next steps that staff and I were able to work on. So we're hoping to create potentially a subcommittee that could have specific goals set forth. So reviewing the application process and revisiting the form. I know there were previous discussions about updating those applications with business industry standards like CalGreen to make sure that the businesses are minimally meeting those requirements and then exceeding those requirements as well. And then previously, City Council had discussed including some type of inspection of the businesses, and we would need to develop a plan to carry out those inspections if that is something that we'd like to move forward with. And then one other thing that City Council had previously recommended as well was including educational elements, such as requiring businesses to attend webinars or environmental education courses. One other thing that I would really like to see come to light for this program is increased promotion, which could be a Chamber of Commerce partnership or sending mailing inserts or something that's just an educational document to really help these businesses get to that green certification. So this is all that I had prepared for you all today. It's really meant to facilitate a discussion and see if you'd like to create that subcommittee, if you'd like to make any changes. This was one of the City Council's priorities that they wanted to see revamp or re-energizing of this program. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Chair, and the Commission to have a discussion.
Do you want to see if there's public comment first?
Absolutely. Do we have any public comment in person?
It's on the agenda.
No public comment in person. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioners, any comments on that? I'll just say to start, full disclosure, I absolutely want one of these subcommittees. So I'm hoping one of you will make that motion. But are there any comments from anybody about green business subcommittee or any other ideas about the green business
Gavin, and
award?
then I'll go.
Yeah, I just had a question about like the application process. Is there a separate application for restaurants and retail?
I believe there should be. Let me double check the list that we have. Yes, restaurants have one, but what was the second establishment that you had said?
Retail.
Retail. So there is a office/retail, so that would be under the
Okay,
same
so
application
there's a
type.
separate application for each one of the, okay.
So restaurants will have one, and then office/retail will have
Okay.
its own application.
There used to be a subcommittee on this, and actually Mayor Weintraub I think was the one who, when she was on Environmental Commission, I think is when this way back when was initially discussed, and the idea was to encourage businesses and give them some recognition. So it's just a win-win-win situation. So I'm hoping that this body will want to have a subcommittee to work with staff and to answer some of the questions about how to improve it. So if there's any other discussion, otherwise.
I have a question.
Oh yeah, Randy.
I don't know, I mean, obviously, we're both new, so does anyone have any history on how these businesses were solicited to start with? How did they ever become green businesses? Did it start at the chamber level, or did it start at the city level where they were sent a letter? Does anyone know?
I believe the city had canvassed and shared physical letters with these businesses going door to door. And that's how the
That's
outreach
the
started.
impression I got too, because when we did try to do the anticoagulant rodenticide acknowledgement, and if they removed their stuff, then we would recognize them here. And the Cheesecake Factory corporate offices did that, and they got acknowledged. They didn't come to the meeting to get the certificate, but we were trying to do something very similar. So this might be something that you're quite passionate about, and you can, when you're talking to them about this, you can talk about that, because there's a platform for that as well. But when we did that, it was through direct contact with them.
So you went door to door to these
Directly.
businesses soliciting them?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
I believe that way back again, that it was announced at the chamber as well.
Yeah, and then
Because
you
you had
hope
people who are involved, like all the city council members go to the chamber. So I think that it was promoted, like
Yeah.
try to be more green, try to get involved.
And you hope when they have the sticker or the recognition or whatever that people then start to talk about it, and hopefully it spreads. But yeah, it's slow to start.
Whitney.
It seems like such a critical part of our fabric of a environmentally focused community. Like, it just really makes sense to go about your errands and see a decal like that. It's like an A matters in restaurants, and I would take it on with somebody. I mean, I think every restaurant in Calabasas knows me because I say, these are not plastic utensils, this is a problem. And I say it very nicely because I want to make a difference. I don't want them to be angry. I want them to support the change and know that we're watching them. So when their paper straws run out, they got to reorder the paper straws, you know. But, I mean, I would go on that committee with someone if someone wants to do it with me. I can't do it by myself, though.
Would you like to make a motion?
I can make a motion
Go for it.
that we establish a subcommittee around green business certification.
Perfect. Is there a second? Bring it.
I'll second that.
There we go. All right. Any other comments? No. All in favor of establishing and this, just to back up, because we were going to talk about what is required to be a subcommittee. We never had that conversation. Right? It's supposed to have a purpose.
Yes.
It's supposed to, right?
Yes.
Be ad hoc. Do you want to can we just have that comment before we vote
Sure.
on this, please?
Sure. So I think you can, before we vote on the subcommittees, it would be good to establish some goals that we can track. And so some ideas we've had at the staff level for like the green business certification is growing the number of certified businesses by a percentage or a specific number, and that's for your discussion at the commission level. And there can be other ideas, other sort of metrics, and again, it's just a goal. We know that a lot of these things, like sometimes we succeed beyond what we think, sometimes we don't quite get there, and the committee keeps trying, but I would encourage the commission just to have at least a brief discussion on what you would like to see the subcommittee accomplish.
I have a question about enforcement. It's one thing to go out and educate them and tell them what this is a possibility for you. You can get advertisements, you can get, all this promotion from the city, the stickers on your window. But if we go out and offer them that and educate them, give them application process, all that, where's the enforcement and how does that work? Where somebody comes out afterwards and says, okay, here, you're now a green business. Then they put the rat poison boxes back out. Or however, that's what I'm concerned about, is how is that followed through with?
So the current process is really on the honor code. These individuals will submit the application form, and then staff will review. If they have any questions, they can reach out. But this would be something that the subcommittee could definitely take underway, incorporate some type of verification process to make sure that the information that they're giving is factual. So this is something we can definitely incorporate to the future program.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I would expect the subcommittee to have set up some sort of parameters.
Okay.
Great. So I think what I've heard is that subcommittees need to have a purpose to be an ad hoc subcommittee, right? With measurable purpose.
An action, a plan of action.
A plan of action or a goal, yeah.
Like we want to educate businesses in our community what they could be doing to be more sustainable, what they could do to be green businesses. That would be one goal, right? Educate businesses.
And have them to fill out the application.
Okay.
And do it.
Right.
Participation. Educate.
Yeah, participation is key.
All right. So any other questions or anything? But thank you for clarifying. Let's go ahead and move into a vote. All in favor of having a green business subcommittee, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Terrific. Now we have a subcommittee. Now, does anyone want to be on this newly formed? Whitney?
I would love to join you, Whitney.
No, you can't have three.
Can our student commissioner join us or no?
Yeah, students can be on anything.
That's what.
Students can be on anything. There's no Brown Act. Just wait. There's no Brown Act violation for students. Students should be involved with, but they can't be involved in everything because they've got to go to school and they've got to spend time with their parents.
Okay.
But we need.
Randy and Larissa could do it.
Yeah, that would be great.
And if I go to a place and talk to them, I'll say you're coming.
All of us are going
I
to.
have some very tight relations with some business owners in Calabasas, so I'll just tell you to go to them.
I have a question. To avoid the Brown Act, can you still have 3 people on a committee if all 3 don't meet together, if 2 meet at a time?
No, I think that wouldn't quite work.
No, the whole, remember, a subcommittee reports back to the commission. So whoever the 2 are going to report back. So let's say it's the 3 of you. Whitney is still going to ultimately vote on whatever you guys bring back, right? So she can say, no, I don't like that, or can we amend that, or she can give feedback, but through staff. But think about it, if 3 people are all having input, then it's the majority of the commission.
Becomes the majority. Got it.
Yep, and sorry to be bureaucratic about it, but even if the information is exchanged 2 people then to 1 person, it's still 3 people involved potentially in the same conversations and the same discussions.
It's a bummer.
Yeah.
I think we should look at what subcommittees, since it was last time we dissolved, I need to know exactly which ones I'm on. I don't want to spread too thin, and I don't want to ask somebody else to do that either.
That's a great point. So we're done with A. So let's that's coming up, actually.
Okay.
The subcommittee thing is coming up with priority list.
Well, you have 3 people that want to do it, so that's good, right? That starts out good. So.
Yes, and Chair, you can appoint the subcommittee members.
Well, I thought that.
No, you can't have 3, so they could do it.
Yeah, is that cool?
Yeah.
You guys do it because you were just saying that you have a history and you know all these businesses, so you already have a running start. So no, you guys are fine. Seriously.
Rochambeau? All right. Please make a note. Larissa and Whitney will be the subcommittee members. And we look forward to you reporting back to us. Perfect. Thank you. Next item 3B is the Battery Box Subcommittee closing statements.
Thank you, Chair. So I just wanted to give a brief introduction. So I wanted to thank you, Vice Chair Schwartz, for all of your contributions to the subcommittee. It was a great program. The boxes have been created. We're starting to distribute them to community members at events like the Pumpkin Festival, and boxes are also available.
There were 2 members.
Oh, Larissa, you were a part of there?
It was a subcommittee.
Commissioner Byrne, I'm very sorry. So both of you, thank you so much for all of your contributions to this project. The boxes have been made. We can order more at any time. And we're working on updating our battery recycling website. It has an interactive GIS map that shows all of our pickup locations as well. So further revisions are underway, and the program will continue to be carried out by Public Works staff. But the goal of the subcommittee has been fulfilled, and we wanted to see if either of you have any closing remarks or anything you wanted to say.
Before they make remarks, is it possible for someone to bring one of the boxes in so people we could see that? I thought that would be here.
Thank you, Treya.
Go ahead. You guys can speak while she's getting those boxes. Maybe bring them in. Maybe bring in several so everyone can take one. Cool. Please. Sorry.
Just a tremendous thank you to Curtis. It really is very cool. It takes a village, and there's a reason why that's a saying. I was obviously so incredibly inspired by those students, and it just after being on this commission for so long, the stickers and the rulers and the pencils, it's like, let's do something new. So I was so excited that it actually came into fruition, and I'm just elated. I really am. It's really cool. And just our community is so beautiful. There's an aesthetic. And when I go to the Tennis and Swim Center, it's like I'm happy that the batteries are there, but it looks like not so great. And just to imagine it being stacked and just looking really clean and presentable. And I think when people have it in their homes, they're going to see it, and it won't be like this overflowing jar or weird plastic bag. And I really think it's going to be so successful. I'm just so excited.
I want to say thank you, because from the time with those boys, they did such a great job, and it was inspiring. And you did this, and it's awesome to see it happen.
And if I could just add to that, it really does take a village, and it takes that constant push. And I appreciate that coordination, because, in the Public Works Department, we have lots of priorities every day. And so thank you, Whitney and Larissa, for staying with us and keeping on top of us and having patience at the same time. And I think it's really great to see an idea come to fruition.
While Trey is bringing them up here, I just want to also say I am so happy. You guys represented us, and you took, again, the kids, the students were recognized, and they got their plaque. But you know what? This is so much more. Yeah. I've always said that a measure of success is not just starting something, but these kids are now off in college. Had you not done this, the whole thing withers away. And this now it's memorialized in our city. So maybe hold that up for the. Can we get maybe? Can you hold that? Can you zoom in on Whitney here holding this up, please?
So Vice Chair Schwartz is holding up a folded up version, and Commissioner Byrne is holding up the flattened version. So there is a giveaway option for giving it out at the flat version. It's very easy to fold it up, unfold it.
And for those who want these boxes are available
at City Hall, and there's also a QR code on it that will go to the web page that Melanie is redesigning. Yep.
Excellent.
The QR code will actually show you where in Calabasas you could drop your box.
So if you go to the screen right now, please explain this, please. Staff.
Yes, so we have our battery recycling webpage. So there have been a few updates. Right when you scan the QR code, it will take you to this site, which has our drop-off locations, and the map is interactive, so depending on where you are, it'll adjust. And these are the battery locations in the blue here. So we have 6 total locations throughout the city listed underneath. We have them listed out, and then we also have alternative drop-off locations. So if commissioners or any members of the public need any additional information, we're here to assist.
And I'd like to say we actually had a comment come through our Calabasas Connect, I believe, about the content on the webpage, and someone from the community wanted some clarification on lead-acid batteries. So we're looking into that, but I think I want to highlight that people are looking at this, and the webpage is useful. So kudos to staff for getting that webpage, refined, and for, our IT department for helping us with that.
As we step into other subcommittees, I want to use this as an example, all right? That this subcommittee had a purpose, its success, and here's the result, right? But I think as we consider other subcommittees, I encourage all of the commissioners to think about what you want to achieve with your subcommittee, right? Not just, so for instance, we had a wonderful public comment about anticoagulant rodenticide. Great comments, but how do we achieve that? So as we step into these various subcommittees, I would say use Whitney and Larissa as a model here, and let's really think about what are the measurable things, what's the purpose of this subcommittee, and how can it work with staff without burdening staff, but how can we also make it measurable and successful. So with that said, let's move on to Environmental Commission 24-25 priority list.
Thank you so
Melanie,
much,
do you want to
Chair.
start with the email you sent out and responses?
Absolutely. I wanted to thank each and every one of you commissioners and the student members. Each of you shared your ideas and your priorities for the year, and this is something that I'm really excited. We're going to bring all of your ideas to light and see how we can make your dreams become a reality with the environmental initiatives here in the city. So without further ado, I just wanted to thank you all for being here today. So this is our 2024-25 priorities that were received by the Commission. Our agenda for today is to go through our Environmental Commission mission, discuss the City Council priorities that were set forth, go through our Commissioner feedback process, and then facilitate a discussion amongst the Commissioners. So our Environmental Commission mission of the City of Calabasas is to advise the City Council regarding the stewardship of our environment as it affects the character of the community and the quality of life of our residents. We strive to balance those elements that influence the degree to which our community sustains its social, economic, and physical environment while maintaining it and enhancing its natural and cultural resources. So, without further ado, our City Council priorities had been set forth by the Environmental Task Force, which consists of Councilmember Albright, Councilmember Shapiro, and our own Environmental Commission Chair, Cohen. So this group had set forth goals for the city, and there were two main focuses that came forth. So we have our Cool Streets pilot program and research, which is something staff will be taking on. And their second item was restarting or reestablishing the Green Business Certification, which we discussed during item 3. So with those items in mind, with the City Council priorities in mind, we had requested commissioner feedback on multiple days, so we solicited feedback starting in June, and then we finalized our list in July. So a common theme that was consistent amongst all of you was good for people and good for the environment. And this was something that a commissioner had brought to my attention. So I'm very excited to go through all of these ideas. 31% of the ideas were community events, 26% were community education programs, about 13% were environmental initiatives, another 13% were business education programs. Once again, 13% was credited to administrative updates, and then about 4% was presentations. And we're hoping that the commissioners viewed these items, but we're going to do a quick recap of each item, and then we can have a discussion. So first, community events and programs. 31% of our feedback, the majority, was focused on community events and programs. So one commissioner had requested for America Recycles Day in November to have our recycling contest art displayed on open walls, whether it be at the library or the tennis and swim center. Commissioners had discussed today doing the commission or the council chambers. So this is something that staff will explore and see where we can display this art. Commissioners also requested increased volunteering days, so more cleanup events, bike to school, walk to school, creek tours, trail tours, and then providing community service for volunteers, so specifically students. Waste reduction, a commissioner had brought up the idea of reducing physical handouts that we're giving out by utilizing the digital kiosks that are available at city facilities. And then one big section was student-focused programs. So several commissioners had the idea of creating an informal student advisory committee who could bring ideas forth to the commission. We also had the idea to help expand the Roots and Shoots Club at the Calabasas High School and promote others to create their own clubs. And then what student member Tesser had discussed today was the high school student competition. That would be an art contest that encourages recycling, and student member Tesser has already reached out to the Calabasas high school art teachers, so the wheels are moving on this if you'd like to move forward. And then we also wanted to encourage Agora Hills high school students to who are residents in Calabasas to attend watershed meetings and environmental commission meetings and be more active in the Calabasas community, even though they go to Agora High School. So next, 26% of our commission priorities fell under community education programs. So education was a very hot topic amongst all of you, and teaching people how to properly carry out programs that we have in place. So sharing knowledge about ideas and making people aware about how they can help the community. And we also had workshops and other programming ideas that the commission had suggested. And commission had also requested projects with local schools and children, such as interactive assemblies, and then supplying our battery boxes to the LVUSD school district so that they can properly dispose of their batteries and learn about it. And one suggestion also said for the student commissioners to be dropping off those boxes and provide some type of presentation or educational outreach disclosing how these boxes are meant to be used, and sharing any other information necessary for the battery recycling. Next, about 13% of our feedback fell under environmental initiatives. This includes business requirements such as installing LED light fixtures in commercial Calabasas buildings. This was something that the student members were very passionate about, and Gavin also touched upon earlier in his presentation. So our Civic Center is LEED certified, so that means that several of the fixtures and programs are already the highest level of sustainability, but there's always room for improvement, especially with our commercial buildings throughout the city. So another recommendation was an Environmental Commission and Parks and Rec Commission collaboration. We're having a subcommittee for that, and they had the ideas of doing milkweed planting, incorporating hydration stations at city facilities, and then incorporating better trail systems with pet waste bag stations. So to build off of that pet waste bag stations, that cleaning up after your pet helps us achieve standards set forth by NPDES and the Clean Water Act so that the runoff water doesn't get contaminated, so encouraging people to have these proper practices. And then another initiative was native plants, which was also touched upon earlier, and we can have a discussion about that further, but connecting with Las Virgenes Water District for rebate reports, and then that subcommittee, if created, could promote rebates that are in place and share statistics that are shared from Las Virgenes Municipal Water District. Almost there. Thank you so much for your patience. So educational programs for businesses, 13% of our commissioners' feedback fell under this item. So organizing sustainable restaurant workshops and potentially having collaboration with Crossroads, which is a recognized business, and supporting businesses through education by encouraging best management practices like closing the lids on trash cans, which one of our public comment members brought up today as well. So these programs, we already have programs in place like NPDES, which already covers a lot of best management practices, but there's always room for improvement and educating these businesses that are that may not be performing to the best of their abilities. And then lastly, so internal or administrative updates, I just wanted to bring in a quick comment that said that any county or state policies supersede those in the city. So if there are already state or county policies that or restrictions that are in place, the city must follow those that were set forth. So I did see that there was a municipal code update request that requested we ban the sale and purchase of anticoagulant rodenticides, and that's something that has already been passed as an assembly bill. So this is something that we can definitely discuss and see how to move forward. But other than that, we had quite a few municipal code updates, as well as a request for our commissioner handbook to be updated with the roles and responsibilities of the commission members. Lastly, we have our presentations at environmental commissions. We had one suggestion that was a student presentation and update, but aside from that, staff and commissioners can request or suggest a presentation or a speaker at any time. So if at any point you wanted to incorporate further presentations, we can add that to the agenda. So that concludes our priorities discussion, and I just wanted to open up the floor to technically public comment, but there is no one present at our meeting today, so I will turn the floor over to our commission members.
We got a public.
Would you like to have a public comment? Okay. So, I will turn the floor to our commissioners to have a discussion and see if we could set forth some priorities for this
Thank
year.
you very much. Thank you very much. One thing I want to add to that was you were talking about staff reviewing. I think that we need to update our website. So please add that on there too.
Specifically, which site? Like the entire city
Would you
website?
click on environmental? I think the whole city, all the commissions,
Okay.
but specifically our commission.
Okay.
I think if you look at we'll talk about it later, but I just want to put a little pin in that.
Absolutely. Chair.
So let's move on. I want to just throw out, so for sake of information, I want to talk about who's on which committees to start. And then I want to talk about which subcommittees we had previously. And then I want to open it up for discussion. Is that cool? Mm-hmm. I know. Yeah, all right. So presently, correct me if I'm wrong on this, guys, but presently the calendar drawing contest is Beth and Larissa. The Pumpkin Festival, Larissa and Randy.
Yes, sir.
Arbor Day is Beth and Larissa.
Okay.
You're a busy lady.
I have Beth and Whitney in my last notes. Is it you two, Lurs?
I don't have that with me, and I know we were
I'm
short.
looking at, yeah.
We
And-
were short.
and
Yes.
Whitney is Earth Day by herself.
Remember, we were
No,
short
Earth
a little
Day-
bit. So
Oh yeah, Whitney and Larissa.
see, I can't. We were short somebody, so we were. Remember,
'cause
JC?
Randy wasn't here.
That's what it was.
So Randy can.
So that's
volunteer
why I
on
was
any
on a bunch.
fractions of
Because
those.
that's what I thought. So if
I have Arbor Day as me and Whitney, but
if that's all
we can
right,
check
that
that
would
with our
relieve me of
notes.
that one. Okay.
And Chair, you can, and the commission can discuss, and the chair can appoint and shuffle assignments.
Oh, okay, great.
Are you cool with doing that, the Arbor Day? Sure. All right, so I'm
Great.
changing that from Larissa to Whitney.
Okay, great.
And then we've got public forum is me and Randy. You wanted to do that with me? So that's going to be me and Randy.
Good.
And then Earth Day is Larissa and Whitney. Who else wants to do Earth Day with Whitney? Somebody need?
me and the student commissioners?
No. Student commissioners can do everything. They can
Okay,
be on
okay.
anything. It's got to be an adult.
Me and Freya?
No, she's going to be there. She'll be there. Trust me. She'll
An
be there
adult-
juggling.
An adult serving on the commission.
I had one of you down here.
You can put me down.
All right, I'm putting Larissa again. Green business, again, Larissa and Whitney. I love it.
That's a new one.
All right, and Beth and I are going to step up in some of these ones coming up. All right, previously, I'm going to name some of the subcommittees that we previously had, but again, just because we had them doesn't mean we're going to have them again, just like the recycling boxes, the battery boxes, some of them, there isn't really a purpose going forward. But there was native plants. Climate action, that's me and Larissa, which I'm going to ask that we do that again, but it's on hold.
Right.
But we're waiting on staff, but staff has indicated that is coming.
Okay.
We previously had a water conservation subcommittee. It's become less important because we got rain, but it's just a matter of time till the drought comes back. But and then the student member task force, which I think has been very successful. So I think, especially because there's a lot of efforts to reach out to schools and a lot of opportunities to engage with that. So I'm throwing those things out, opening it up for discussion. Also, there is Cool Streets, but that's essentially staff, or is that something that we would be involved? Do you see a purpose for us to be involved in that? Curtis?
So just to provide a little more context to the overall discussion and before I jump into Cool Streets, before we get, I think it's great to list the subcommittees that we've had in the past. Before going into the subcommittees, I think we should talk about the priorities and get I don't have a specific number in mind, but something that seems achievable, 3 to 5 priorities or something along those lines. Then work through the subcommittees for those priorities. Cool Streets at this time, yeah, staff has taken that on in the Public Works Department. We do have a plan. If the commission would like to have a subcommittee that checks in with us, we can. Otherwise, I'll be providing an update probably early next year on that.
Is it, you know what, I'm cool not having a subcommittee, But I would ask staff to give us regular reports, to give us updates, because if that's something that we're specifically, that those two.
Yes, we can do that.
Please. All right, so let's move on to priorities.
So it seems like community education is a big one for us.
Yes.
Community events we have.
Yes.
So I'm sure we all said that because we enjoy that. But community education is something we can focus on.
I mean, community education is going to show up without Larissa and I working on green business.
It's in all of them, the forum, everywhere.
So I wanted just to, you had brought up about the resolution, how there was already a municipal code, but what I wanted to make mention of is that it's outdated. It needs to be updated. And I don't know if this is the right time to do it, but because there's no ad hoc committee for rodenticide.
Right now, we're just trying to come up with priorities for the.
Right, but don't you have to have a committee if you're going to update a municipal code?
Actually, no, you could make that, the commission can discuss it, and it could be a priority. And
Okay.
then it comes back to staff as a recommendation that you'd like to see staff to research a municipal code update and report back.
Am I able, without forming a subcommittee and everything else, just to ask Randy to come back to us at the next meeting with a proposed updated language of an updated, is that something
Well, I'll just volunteer that staff can do that. We can look at the municipal code update.
Can you work with, can Randy have a?
Yes, we can work directly on that together.
Okay.
Is that cool, Randy?
Yeah, that's fine.
So then we don't even have
Yeah,
to
you don't even have to have a committee.
use the whole, but do me a favor, please bring it back to the commission at our next meeting and let us know what you've
Sounds
come
good.
up with.
Thank you.
Is that good? Larissa?
I was thinking, if we're going to be this green business subcommittee, poison-free should be part of that, shouldn't it? In a way, or we can't do that?
They can be partnered, where you talk to each business about it at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a business.
But it's different criteria.
So to bring it into that subcommittee is what I'm saying, so that we didn't have to have a
Seems like
separate
we could get
poison.
more
Okay.
businesses on.
I mean, there's.
Excuse me,
there's
commissioners,
many-
really quick, please make sure that you're speaking into your microphone. It really helps us when we're taking our minutes. Thank you.
Go ahead.
No, I think the green business subcommittee needs to come together and figure out what, I mean, it could,
Okay.
I mean, like the kids
Because
were mentioning,
not
light
having
bulbs and
poison is being
thermostats and all the things in this building. And so, how you judge a green business, I think we defer to the subcommittee at this
Right.
point.
Okay. I'm just hoping that we can do something about the poison-free.
Yeah.
That we can hop on that somehow.
There's
And if
a
we need
lot.
a subcommittee, then we need a subcommittee. But I'm just thinking that's important.
What's the purpose, but again,
The
how do you?
purpose is to stop the use of rodenticides in our
but
community.
Staff just said it's illegal.
They're everywhere. The
The
boxes are
problem
everywhere.
is the private places, like the commons, you hit dead ends, but keep fighting.
Right.
But again, with regard to the commission,
Yeah.
right? Remember, we are supposed to be a body that isn't legislating.
That's right.
That's what the city council does.
Okay.
So right? I mean, you can definitely call your city council member.
Yes,
Each
yes,
of us
yes.
represents somebody. You could have a meeting with Peter every week and talk about it, or whatever. We could talk about it with our specific people. But in terms of this feedback process, so with regard to education, that's up there, right?
Yes.
Community education program.
I thought that was, at least in my feedback, was with schools. That was what I meant. So you guys said forum and stuff, but like kids don't really come to that. I would love to see us doing more with schools.
I agree with that. I would love to have a subcommittee that's specifically, I mean, I think we've done a great job. If you see the photo, there were a dozen students that showed up to help clean the creek.
Yes.
And you've got, we keep talking about roots and shoots, but I don't understand why the high school doesn't have a hiking club, right? That Howard
Sure.
Schwartz comes and leads, or
That'd
why
be
there isn't
great.
I mean, or an anti-coagulant rodenticide club, or like, why not
Or a recycled art.
a recycled art club, right?
I mean, that
so,
one I think is achievable
so I think
this
that,
year.
I think we can work with students at all different levels, not just at, like you say, at Agora. And I mean, that's something that we're going to try to do. How do we do that? Well, if we have a subcommittee, we can be involved with reaching out to Agora. We can be involved with the school district, with all those things. So, so if there's a motion for that, that's a subcommittee that I would be willing to sit on.
So
Personally.
it sounds like the commission is leaning towards student engagement as being a priority.
Yes, sir.
And the exact form of that, we don't necessarily have to figure out at this meeting. We can discuss, but, again, we're just trying to, there's a lot of things listed here, and we know that we want to get to all of them. It's just kind of the order that we will. So, sounds like student outreach is pretty high on the list. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yes. One idea I had too was we have that walk to school day, and I want to know what you guys think. We do it once a year. And I said, why can't we do it once a month? Why is it? But they go all out for that one, and you get these handouts, and the mayors are there. Like, why can't it just become something more mainstream? I don't know.
Again, I would say that a subcommittee could be, because I know that the school district, it's very labor intensive for them, because their teachers.
Does it have to be school district? Like, just
Well, why don't we have a subcommittee to talk about it? Because I think.
Okay.
If I could provide a little bit of history on that. So that is more of a traffic and transportation event. Our traffic and transportation is not as engaged as the Environmental Commission, and since we're promoting walking and active transportation, that's why the Environmental Commission has been brought in. That might be an opportunity for you to work with traffic and transportation in the future. But that is kind of that we did, long history before my time, we did try to do every week. Every Wednesday was walk to school day, and it just did not get engagement. We brought it back to once a month. It didn't get the engagement. One thing that I do want to look into is potentially doing the May version. May is bike to school month, sorry. And so having it maybe be twice a year as an option.
Start slow.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Treya.
Yeah, the history is always good to know.
I have another priority. Oh.
Go ahead.
Another priority that came up just then was collaboration. More collaboration with fellow commissions. We have, like, that's traffic and transportation or public safety, whatever, library. We could collaborate a little bit more with staff or things like that as a priority. Agencies outside, environmental agencies, that kind of thing.
Excellent. I think also, without focusing on subcommittees, Native Plants was one of the most successful subcommittees we had. Somehow you guys were engaged. The people who were on it had community members engaged. So I would question the people who, Beth and Whitney, using our priorities, how do we tap into what you were able to create with that subcommittee? What were some of the things that came out of that we should focus on for 2024?
I mean, I think it's just a grassroots movement of getting people involved and knowing. And I always get stuck and feel like we don't have a way to express what we want to do. Like, we don't have an Instagram page. Like, we can't, how do we really express that we have these committees and to get these people? So Whitney and her husband, Howard, knew a lot of people and brought them in. It was that simple. And then we had community members. But none of my friends wanted to do it. I was stuck. I just feel like I'm constantly stuck.
So can I ask a question, just because I'm still relatively new? Was the native plant effort focused on outreach, or was it tracking, like we are trying to get to so many houses to apply for the rebate programs, or what were some of the goals? Do you remember?
So I would say the goal came to be this native garden recognition at some point, because you want people to have that plaque to then say, oh, what's that? I want to join, to get the information out. So that was how it came. But we would sit together and share ideas and share techniques of how to help. And then we're like, well, how do we tell people this? And so is this enough for a topic for a forum? Maybe not. Like, and just wanting maybe smaller ways to get the community together to chat about that.
Was it kind of like the Carl Gibbs Award in some way? It was kind of an award? Okay.
We weren't thinking of it as significant as that.
It was small.
Right,
It was
small.
Like garden recognition.
I
More
see.
like the
So
business.
Like, my garden
Okay.
is native. Thank you. The city of Calabasas recognizes my native.
Okay.
And then your neighbors walk by and see it, and they're like, oh, that's so pretty. I'd love to try that. Oh, and it doesn't need water. How great. And there's pollinators.
Okay, that helps. So I think in terms of like a priority, that falls under native plants and water conservation. It ties them both together.
I also think.
It's like when you go to my my student graduated, and you put that garden thing in, it's like you're really not that big, and cuter, but it's a way of communicating with your community and them knowing what you're involved in. And I have so many people in my neighborhood who walk my street in the spring, and they say, I always walk your street in the spring because my garden looks so amazing and it's native. If I had a thing, then people would walk by and know it was native instead of if I'm not out there.
And you're a certified habitat, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, for those of you who live in gated communities, if there's a way to maybe, is there something we could do to bring a program there? Is there something? I don't know, maybe he has one. Gavin.
Okay, I've been wanting to say this for a while now, but LVMWD has a program called Water Warriors where they recognize certain yards that have low water usage. Yeah. So I think that already addresses what both of you were talking about, and I believe they do give out signs and they do give out recognition, and that's for like the whole LVMWD service area, and they track like multiple different factors such as water usage, so it's very accurate.
Would it be?
I won that basket, but I didn't get a sign.
Would it be possible to? Can you follow up and see? Would it be possible for them to collaborate with whatever we're doing on native plants here? Because it seems like there's a natural tie-in.
Yeah, if it's already written and they can monitor it, which was our biggest hurdle, then we can just acknowledge or get that information from Water Warriors and recognize them here as well, and we can make the sign. Does Water Warriors make a sign?
I believe, I've seen signs around the building, but I'm not sure, I feel like they just finished up their program this year, so they're probably just distributing the signs, so maybe that's a new thing they're doing, but I'm pretty sure they are doing signs this year, but I can follow up.
Well, that's great then, and then we can close up our subcommittee and move on.
Like maybe at the next meeting, you could come back with who those contacts are, and then we could be in action of going with that information for us.
Mm-hmm. And this is
We
why
leave
the
that to
meetings
you.
are so important, because
So
all
you
this
can-
gets
you
lost,
Find
yeah.
out who that contact is.
I know the intern who's been working on it.
Perfect. So we'll connect with you offline. Yeah.
Okay.
Take care of
And
that.
I love the connection between subcommittees and priorities, but it doesn't always have to link up that way. So if water conservation and native plants, you feel like is still a priority, but the water district is handling maybe the recognition part, it can still remain a priority. I just want to kind of make that distinction. Not every priority has to have a subcommittee. It can be for the commission.
The only reason I like subcommittee, I agree with you, but I also want to walk away from here with some subcommittees because I feel like we do more. Like we actually call our subcommittee partner and say, hey, do you want to meet? Do you want to talk? We engage with other community members or other organizations.
I think we're on enough, aren't we, right now?
Well, we don't have any. We don't have any right now. They're all just, everything that I just named has been,
Got it, okay.
doesn't exist. So that's part of what we're supposed to do tonight is decide if we want some. So like native plants doesn't exist right now.
Oh, we thought it did.
Yeah.
We were fully acting like it did.
Yes,
If
at
you
the
want
main
it,
meeting, we
then
disbanded
you're
it
going to
all.
want to make a motion to have it, but now it has more purpose than it
No,
did.
because we can follow, we've connected,
Yeah.
and I'm good.
And Curtis is saying we don't have to do
Yeah.
that. We can
So
just
no.
leave it as
Good.
this.
Nice.
It could still be something that is brought to the commission. You don't have to have a subcommittee to get it on future agendas or anything. Staff can still follow up with all this. The subcommittee would come into play if we wanted some very specific coordination with the water district, for example, and to collaborate on a sort of unified award of some kind or something like that, right? Then you might want to have a subcommittee, but
So
it's
if
not
you play-
necessary to carry out the initiative.
But if you play this out, right, now it's August. We don't meet again until November. So likelihood is nothing happens between now and November, right? Or will there be?
Well, we'll make a connection with the water district. I also have a connection there, and we'll find out what they're doing with their program.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I also wanted to share, so I've been working on a program that I shared in my support with LVMWD where we're going to make native seeds more readily available to the public. So that will involve like making small seed packets and distributing those what we call them seed banks to like places around Calabasas and Agoura. And then in that packet, there will be information about LVMWD's rebate programs as well as water use. So I think that could potentially be a subcommittee where we can work on that, as well as possibly creating like native gardens or native plant restoration within schools.
Great.
So I'm going to check in once in a while just with like what I'm hearing. So like cool streets is something that's happening. It could be a priority. It doesn't have a subcommittee, and it's a priority because council has kind of tasked, both staff and the commission with that. Student engagement is a priority. The native plants and water conservation is a priority, and more collaboration with other commissions. So I have about 4. So I'm just kind of talking through them, just so we stay.
Gavin, when do you think the
front of
seed
mind.
banks are going to start?
Well, so I've been working with the resource conservation manager, so I think pretty soon, hopefully by the end of this month. But
So then
if
maybe
not,
that's student engagement. It could be. I mean, I'm thinking right now Bay Laurel has a garden that no one's using. So like that could also be something that we tap into with seeds and community outreach in schools.
But yeah, again, I don't just to be.
But if we're doing like focus on things, like that's a concrete thing we could do. We could get like seeds in there. And did you say something about like gardens or something?
yeah, I was thinking, we could also combine like native plant restoration within that subcommittee. So that could be like in schools or maybe even city property where we kind of revamp areas that have been like destroyed by a fire or so on. Like I know they're doing it in a dog park next to LVMWD. They're restoring milkweed in that park. So something similar to that I feel like could be beneficial.
So then couldn't we create a subcommittee around seeds and community? Right? If that's something we're passionate about right now. And seems time sensitive.
Yeah, and I think also we can tie in how the seeds will benefit like water conservation. And yeah, so I think those kind of go hand in hand.
We'd want them planted in fall so they get the winter rains.
Doesn't that all fall under sustainability? This big umbrella of just sustainable practices, whether it's planting or removing or whatever from yards?
I think it also kind of falls under, if you're thinking of subcommittees, maybe a subcommittee that handles your collaboration, because this is a collaborative effort with the water district and maybe schools. Maybe that's the same subcommittee that deals with potentially the Rec and Parks Commission. It's the same group that put that under the umbrella. They're your sort of outreach subcommittee. That's just an idea for the commission to consider.
Yeah, I mean, my only concern with that is, again, if there's issues specifically related to transportation, then that subcommittee, then that commission would work with us on issues related to that. It doesn't really have anything to do with seeds. I think we're diluting it to the point where if instead we had people who want to be involved with transportation and environment who have that subcommittee or that group, and students of that group, and seeds or native plants kind of have that group, and then the collaboration happens with the water district, with tree people, with whoever it is. But
yeah, I think that's a good
feels
point.
to me like multiple subcommittees, and that way everybody kind of has something they can be focused on and can bring back to the commission.
I agree. I think the commission should definitely discuss that. It was just kind of an idea to get it started.
Do you want to, Beth, do you want to propose a subcommittee then on what you were kind of talking about there with seeds and plants or something?
Yeah, because I know that my feedback was to link more with schools and children, and I think that this collaborates with that, and it's time sensitive, and it's your passion, and yes, so I would like to, from our discussion, make a motion to make a subcommittee, maybe named Seeds and the Community or something.
All right, second? Is there a second?
What
I
about
second that.
Flora for our future?
done.
I second
for
that
our
motion.
future.
Oh, I think I read that already.
Nice.
Okay, I'll second.
All right, so
Thanks, both.
I just want to make sure staff has this clear, the title of this, or whatever the, kind of the,
For the future.
do you guys have a sense as to what this
Yes.
subcommittee?
So, I believe that the motion was to create a subcommittee that focuses on not native plants, seed banks or seeds and native, and community outreach. So community outreach and seed focused subcommittee that will carry out.
Is
Yeah, and it would have a partnership with
Is-
what other,
seeds too narrow? Like, do you want to?
but
like,
it's
what about,
so
like,
focused that
succulents
we
and
can
plants
achieve it
and-
and then close it. Like we achieve our goal and then we're done, I thought is what we're trying to do.
I think that does give the subcommittee very clear purpose. And if that purpose is, if there's a program, sounds like there's already a program in place. So the subcommittee is just going to help kind of
Get it to the schools.
expand that program.
All right, so everyone's clear
That
on
could
this?
Get it to the schools.
There's a motion second. All in favor of this subcommittee, say aye.
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 Aye. All right, who would like to be on this subcommittee?
I also just wanted to add that it would be more of a recurring event, like probably twice a year, where we would have like distribution periods. So it wouldn't necessarily be like a one-time goal, but it would kind of be a continuing event where we just continue to give out native seeds, continue to spread awareness.
Like a biannual.
Yeah.
Who would like to be on this subcommittee we just formed?
I would.
Beth? Who else would like to be on this subcommittee that we just formed? Beth and Randy. Wonderful. One thing that we've talked about a fair amount about is students, and we also talked about the possibility of forming a like a student advisory, because again, this year we had 7 students apply for this, 5 of whom showed up for the creek cleanup, and so we want to. Curtis and I have talked about wanting to have a purpose and having all these a place for students to go. So I would like to see more efforts on that. I think there's enough there for a subcommittee. We essentially did, and I think it's measurable. I think there's purpose, and we essentially had that task force, the student member task force last year, and I think it's been very successful and continues to grow. So if there's a motion for that, right? You don't want me to make the motion?
I'll make a motion for a subcommittee that supports student involvement.
Terrific.
I'll second that.
Perfect. Any discussion? All in favor of this?
I do have a question. Is it limited to high school students, we think? No. Cool.
It's up to you. You made the motion.
I love it.
So it's not limited, right?
Great.
Perfect. All right. All in favor of this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now we can choose who's going to be on this subcommittee.
What are we calling it again?
Randy and Beth.
No, I'm on this one.
No.
No. Randy and Beth are on the seats.
What's this called? Tell me again.
This one's student engagement.
Oh, okay. I'll do that with you, David. I would do that. I would gladly do that.
All right. Larissa and I are doing this one. Wonderful. The only other thing I want to mention was there's a rumor that people are collecting plastic. And so that's something that I do think we should formalize. Should it be formalized? Curtis, it's totally up to you. I mean, it's going to happen whether it's a subcommittee or not. I mean, give me some guidance on this, please.
So I think, you can announce the program and what's happening with the next treks. I think, that's a great announcement to make. And if the commission would like to have a subcommittee to go along with that, that's great. But I'll defer to you for the announcement of the program.
All right, but I'm totally cool if we want to go subcommittee. I'm totally cool if we don't. So I don't know. I don't have a sense as to where that. But are we good? So far, we've got a couple of subcommittees.
We do, and it could fall under the student involvement subcommittee that was just created.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Does anybody have other subcommittees that they particularly?
Business subcommittee?
Yeah, we have green business. Staff? Can you?
With the animal rescue.
Yes, what we've done.
So the current subcommittees that we have in place are for our 5 events, including the calendar. We also have our Green Business Certification Program that was voted upon today, and then we have 2 new as well. So we have our subcommittee for seeds and community engagement, and then we have our student advisory, student involvement subcommittee as well.
And this seeds one, just remind me who's on that?
Randy and Beth.
This one was
Beth and Randy?
Correct.
Perfect. And student involvement is me and Larissa.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Are there other burning things that we need to deal with as a commission? Everybody's got we got a lot of volunteering. I love it.
So
All right,
just to read back your priorities list that you have so far as a running list, in case you wanted to add anything else, we have our cool streets, we have increased school education or student outreach with student engagement, we have commission collaboration or outside agency collaboration, we have our native plants with our seed subcommittee as well, and then we have our student engagement and involvement section with our subcommittee as well. Do you have any other priorities that you'd like to add to our list? Staff will take this list and create future agendas and future agenda items that relate to those items based on what you've discussed today.
I'm good. This is great, guys. Does anybody have anything else that I want to make sure everyone's being heard? All right. I think we're good. So I'm going to move on to a couple more points on the agenda, right? Can I move on to number? Would this be the point to talk about the next Trex, or is that further down?
I was thinking Commissioner Communications, but I can bring up the slides for you or the flyers that you share.
Commissioner Communication is fine. Mm-hmm. Just tell me what number is that on?
It was, so.
Chair, if you wish to talk about that, now would be your last chance to do it for this meeting.
Okay, so let's definitely do it now. We'll in the interest of time, it'll be kind of quick. There's a company called Trex. Gavin spoke about this a bit. There's a company called Trex that makes decking, and they make it out of recycled plastic and wood chips. And they have a second program that they've started for communities called Trex. And the plastic that is used is largely collected from grocery stores and large lot stores that wrap the pallets of food that come, and that plastic has been collected. They've got compressors at stores, and they collect it. This company, as a way of reaching out to community, has started a program called Trex, which is a recycling challenge. Communities have 12 months of 1 year to collect 1,000 pounds of plastic. And I brought some samples here. It's got to be the kind of plastic like this that stretches a little bit. So it's number 2 or 4 plastic. So sometimes it'll have the triangle and it'll have the numbers, but basically, like if you had a bag of chips, it doesn't pull. So that's not the right kind of plastic. 2 or 4, all these kinds of things, like the woman from Waste Management said, bubble wrap. It's all here on the screen. So there'll be more information. I'll send it out to everybody, and I'll take too much time. But the students have embraced this. Neighbor of mine, Humphrey, does it back east, and he's the one who told me about it. He's got a garage full of plastic, so we're going to hit the ground with a significant amount to start, and the students are going to be very instrumental in helping to collect. We've got boxes. There'll be one here at City Hall. There's going to be one at the school district, the high school. We're not going to start off with 100 boxes because we're going to ramp up, but we are going to start off. We've got 6 right now. So anyway, very excited about this, and I hope everyone will start collecting plastic. And I know 3 students who are happy to come and pick it up from you. So any other comments, Gavin? You've been instrumental in this.
I just want to thank everyone for having me here today. It was really nice.
You're welcome. All right. Now let's move. So thank you. We'll share that information. Any questions or anything else, let us know. Number 5, Informational Pumpkin Festival Subcommittee Update. Pumpkin Festival, according to my notes, is Randy and Larissa.
Yes. I'm new to this, so just bear with me. So I had a conversation with, I had a couple conversations with Emily Jerome, and I guess we're going to be sharing a tent. So I'm just going to kind of lean on staff to provide, because it was more like they wanted just to know how many tables, are they supplied. It was just general stuff, but I'm really going to ask everyone here or Larissa, if you've done it in the past, just to give us the information on how it's done.
Larissa did a great job.
Yeah, she was
like
awesome. Last
next
year,
level
it was
last
all
year.
really
Okay, because
best
with
year ever.
Emily and I, it was like the blind leading the blind. So,
I think what I could bring is that JC was my fellow commissioner, JC Schillen, and we wanted to engage people. So we decided we would try to come up with something that would get people to give their opinions. And all we wanted was their zip code. We didn't want their email or their phone number or anything. And we asked them to choose what environmental issues were important to them on these little posters. And it was amazing. The student commissioners had every young kid that was grade school age in awe of them. They were looking up to them and wanted to talk to them and wanted to do this. And it just happened to work, that people wanted to give their opinions. And we could do something like that with the defenders. They've been doing this a long time. It seems like sharing our booth with them is what JC would have hoped for, sharing with an environmental agency. And so when we get together with Emily, we can come up with something like that. Just a few bullet points that you try to get people engaged. Otherwise, they walk by and don't even want to deal with.
Right, and having candy there always helps.
Yeah,
and
I'll
then
do
you'll
the candy.
have all of us there as volunteers throughout the day.
Yeah.
So just so I understand a little better, do we make shifts? So we make shifts, and then as far as their booth goes, they're separate or they're connected?
They tend to be separate. Like, you can collaborate, it's never happened, but we tend to always share the booth with someone. We shared it with the watershed, Melina, and so it's a collaboration, but our booth is usually specific to us. But it doesn't have to be.
Great, so we have one suggestion of candy. Is there any other suggestions you guys have?
Whatever Larissa did last year, I recommend it, because that, in my opinion, that was the best pumpkin festival I've attended as an environmental commissioner.
Thank you.
I mean
Yeah,
it.
because
I
in
mean,
the past we've
everyone was
tried to
engaged.
do art projects and like paint rocking to paint a rock and put it in your garden to help with erosion. Like, we've tried, but that one was so quick and simple and tactile. It was lovely.
Maybe we'll try to do something like that again. We could try
Great,
it.
so we'll talk about it. Thank you.
Commissioners, if I may, we have some very wonderful giveaway items that we're going to bring. It's not necessarily an activity, but we have reusable utensils. We have bags that are made out of recycled plastic as well, and you'll see some of these giveaway items soon. So
That brings up a question. Do we have a budget for these things? I know it's a weird thing to ask. Is there a budget for if we want something at the table, or do you know?
So there is a small budget, and so what Melanie did is she ordered some items using last year's budget, so our fiscal year 23-24 budget before it concluded, which now it's done. Our budget is actually smaller for 24-25. So if you have ideas, just pitch it over to us, and we'll take a look and see if we can, afford it. The budget isn't specific to. I'd say the budget is used for other items too throughout the year. So we're tracking it constantly. But yeah, if you have ideas, send it to both of us and we'll look at it.
And donations are welcome, I take it.
Donations in the form of giveaways, yes.
That's what I mean. If somebody wants to donate the candy, or a neighbor or something. Okay, great.
Yep. And we will have the battery boxes there too.
Yay.
I'm just going to say that a lot of residents go to Arbor Day and Earth Day, but a lot of visitors go to Pumpkin Festival. I'm not saying visitors shouldn't get utensils, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Good point. Thank you, guys. Looking forward to a wonderful pumpkin festival, and glad you guys are working with staff and you're kind of ahead of schedule compared to some of the past years where we were winging it in like end of September. It's like, oh God, right? And now you already know there's shifts. You got all of us on board. Yeah, cool. All right, next order of business. Number 6, discussion about a December special meeting. So again, you know that we earlier in the meeting, we approved, or staff introduced the topic.
Thank you, Chair. So commissioners had brought this to our attention that you wanted to have a December special meeting so that we could accommodate the Carl Gibbs nominations as well as the calendar contest. But I just wanted to let you know that we have readjusted the Carl Gibbs nomination due date to the 4th Wednesday of October annually. So you will be able to vote on the winner or the awardees during the November meeting when we do host that. And the calendar contest, the drawings will be selected at the November meeting, but the main reason for having that December meeting was for that recognition of both the businesses as well as the calendar contest. So I'll turn the floor back to you to have a discussion if you'd like to have this December special meeting, commissioners, and if you'd like to move forward with that, that's something we can arrange.
I'll make a comment, but I'll make it at the end. Anybody else want to make a comment about whether we need a meeting, whether we should meet?
I will not be here, so I can't ever be here at a December meeting.
Could you repeat what you said you changed? It's not, the Carl Gibb Award is not in February, it's in October?
So the due date previously used to be on November 20th, and it wouldn't allow sufficient time for the commission to discuss the winners or the selectees of the Carl Gibbs Award. So we moved that deadline internally to the 4th Wednesday of October annually so that it allows for that November meeting to facilitate the discussion of who the awardees of the Carl Gibbs Award will be. So the deadline for this year will be October 23rd, and it will be reviewed at the November Environmental Commission meeting for you all to select an awardee or awardees of the Environmental Excellence Award. Does that help?
Thanks for the clarification.
Assuming we pick a Carl Gibbs Award recipient at our November meeting, and assuming that we pick the students at the November meeting, and if we were to have a December meeting, which would be the time that the students would be recognized, right? They would come here as we've done every year. And the Carl Gibbs recipient could potentially also be recognized and speak, right? So could the Carl Gibbs recipient or recipients, been 2 or 3 in the past, speak before the students so the students could actually see community leaders and see people who have done amazing things in our community and before they get recognized themselves?
Correct. So either, whether you'd like to have that at the December meeting or the February meeting is something that the commission will discuss. So the February meeting is our regularly scheduled meeting. If you'd like to have a motion for a special meeting, that is something we can open the floor up to now, or we can discuss during our November meeting as well.
Yeah, I'd like to open the floor for that.
We've honored the kids in the past in February, and you're wanting to do it in
In previous years, we had awarded them in December. So there has been a special meeting.
Before the 1st.
You wouldn't make, to me it's illogical.
Before the 1st.
You're going to recognize them 2 months after the calendar came out?
I'd like to make the motion that we have a special meeting in December, if that's
Is there
possible.
a second? Can I second?
I second it.
Thank you. Thank you.
And do I need to say that is so that we can honor these calendar award winners before the new year?
Yeah, and we also don't pile up our February meeting.
Yes.
We got a lot of stuff in February we have to discuss.
Yes, I agree.
Absolutely.
Is it possible for Whitney to zoom in on that meeting? Or for any of us to zoom in on a meeting we can't attend?
Not
No.
for
We still have a
vacations,
quorum.
or it would be under very, emergency circumstances.
We haven't yet proposed a date.
December is a busy time in the council chambers. Council has their meetings, and sometimes there's the reorg, and there can be a busy time. So we'll follow up with a date at the next meeting.
If we follow what we normally have been able to do in past years with having a December meeting, it would be December 3rd.
Thank you.
When are you back? The following week. So if it's the 3rd, it's the 3rd. But if we can accommodate and have all the commissioners there, that would be my preference. We still have to vote on it, but look at the calendar. I know, as Curtis said, I know it's very busy. We respect that. But if we can all be there, that's certainly the preference.
Would the commission be able to provide dates that do not work so we can review the calendar and see what type of availability there is? Okay.
It's worth a try. All right. Any other discussion of the motion to add a special meeting in December? No. All right. All in favor of adding a special meeting in December, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions, or you're for it? Cool. All right. Add the meeting.
Wonderful. Thank
All
you.
right,
So we have
terrific.
the motion.
I guess we move right into adjournment. Our next meeting is going to be November 12th, because it's election day. Thank you again, Randy. And then December, and then February. Oh, my God, we never talked about the forum topic. Shoot, that was supposed to be on the agenda. We need to talk about, I have a number of,
So Chair, if it's not on the agenda, it probably shouldn't be discussed, but we can do it in November.
no.
You could do it.
There's a, no, February. You can't wait till November to start planning. We're here.
Now,
We talked about
the subcommittee
The
can still.
subcommittee can still plan. You don't really need us.
We need a topic.
We can defer to the subcommittee.
All right, okay, but we have to vote on that, right?
No.
Fine.
Subcommittee can report out at the next meeting that they've developed a topic for the forum, and we can go with that.
Fine. The subcommittee, again, there will be a report from the subcommittee next time on the forum. I promise you, for November. Which, again, this subcommittee is me and Randy. All right, see everybody in November, and as subcommittees, please get together, and everybody else collaborate and keep it up. Do great work. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. We are adjourning at 8:35.